Huge game in the Eastern Division standings tonight on the road up here at Glens Falls. Welcome to Eastfield and back to Oneonta Outlaws pregame for the first time in what it seems like a while that we're here with you on YouTube. As always, my name is Colby Smith, and yes, this is a huge game for the Eastern Division standings after the Outlaws fell on the road in Mohawk Valley last night by a 6-5 score. Despite the bats really getting going, something we talked about on our coaches interview of the day with assistant coach Josiah Aska. Outlaws erupted for 11 hits, just couldn't get that little push at the end to surge way in front of Mohawk Valley. They trailed 4-0 early after 2 innings as Chris Ubner going for his shortest start of the year. 2 innings, the final line, 2 hits, 4 runs, all 4 charges earned with 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. But Lawrence Ellenson certainly received a lot of praise from everybody around the Outlaw clubhouse. 4 2/3 innings behind Ubner, gives up 2 walks and 3 strikeouts while holding the Dogs to no hits and no runs. It was Joel Hayner who took the loss for Oneonta last night as he goes 2 innings behind Ellenson, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs with the game tying and game winning runs being charged as earned, and also surrendering 4 strikeouts. So it did raise Hayner's ERA to 1.39, but he remains on the leaderboard in terms of the PGCBL ERA as he dropped down to the 4 spot. In terms of the hitters, we got to give a nod for player of the game to none other than Mr. Ryan King. He goes 1 for 4 with his first home run of the year, scores a run in the process, also picking up the ribby. So Ryan King, have yourself a night up there at Mohawk Valley as he put one over the short little fence in left center to give himself a 4-bagger. So way to go, Ryan King. And we wanted to get that as our play of the game yesterday for up in Mohawk Valley, but unfortunately didn't get the video that in time, and so we'll have that coming up here for you at some point over the next couple of days. Just bear with me when we get our pay-per-view broadcasts and stuff. But we do, as always, keep the tradition alive, want to give a play of the game nod, and so we'll go back to Monday night, the last time that the Outlaws played before yesterday in Mohawk Valley, and go to our play of the, we'll call it action that night because, well, we only got into the bottom of the 3rd before that game got suspended. So here's your play of the action game from Monday. Couldn't pick it out. Tavares is at first, Hurd's at second, Tefano at short, and Frontier at third for the Diamond Dog defense. Hughes, Rasmussen, and Smallsy left to right in the outfield, and the aforementioned Levi McAllister behind the plate for Rip Soto here in Game 5 of the season set between these two. Nothing at 2 pitch. Gloss on the run, waiting, out in the left. That one's going to fall in. Big turnaround third. Gloss is going to get in to score, and it's going to be 3-0 as Waiting picks up another RBI. That's awesome. So Connor Waiting drops down 0-2 in the count in that at bat and still comes around to blast an RBI single to give Oneonta that 3-0 lead. Outlaws would go on to have the 4-2 lead in the bottom of the 3rd when that game was suspended. And now that game, as well as the suspended game that the Outlaws had against the Dragons on July 10th, we announced it on our social media today already, as well as on our Outlaws game day video yesterday. But those games will not be picked up, will not be finished, with the league outlawing no more doubleheaders after this Saturday. So that game totally going to be scrapped from the books, but there were some good positives in that game for the Outlaws that did carry over to yesterday, and that's one thing that Ethan Gloss had talked about. He's our first returnee to drop by the pregame show on the summer, so let's roll things down to our player interview of the day with none other than Ethan Glossa. Colby Smith, and I'm super duper excited to be joined once again today by my new good friend, Ethan Glossa. Ethan, now that summer's slowly starting to wind to a close here in Oneonta, want to just talk about what your experience has been like being an Outlaw?
Well, I've had a great time being an Outlaw. We've had a pretty solid year. We've won a good amount of games. Much improved from last year's from what I'm hearing, and got to meet a lot of new guys that I love playing with every day.
And talking about meeting other guys from all over the place, who are some of the guys you've really clicked with and hit it off with this summer?
I like to hang around Brody, Riley, Ryan King, and Jack Hopka, and then obviously Jordan Gold. I knew him from Herkimer, but I also got to meet Joel Aner and Logan Marquez, who I live with, at Jordan Goebel's house. It's been such a fun time there.
And living with those other fellas at Jordan Gobel's house, what's that experience been like for you?
Kind of just have fun, and we work out every day. We ump a lot of games together, and we just have a real tight bond together.
Talking about the umpiring thing specifically, how has that really helped you as a player grow this summer?
You kind of get to, as our boss said, learn the third aspect of the game, and even though we do get heckled a lot by the parents, it's still such a good time, and we get to make some money while we're doing it and still be on the baseball field making money, and just great to learn that and have that experience.
Well, and have you learned anything or changed your approach in any way in terms of seeing the game from a different side?
I learned like a few new nuances, like little rules I haven't really known or that's never really occurred in the game I've been playing in, but they've happened in these games, and you have to like kind of step back and like talk to my partner or call like the director and see what's the word in this situation and go from there.
And now going away from the umpiring in terms of actual specific game approach and those sorts of things, are there any things that other fellas in the locker room have taught you this summer?
Yeah, I kind of just watch them and see what the successful guys are doing and kind of try and do what they're doing or take something from their game and just try and absorb as much information I can from them because they play pretty high level and I want to play at that high level with them.
Well, and everybody, it seems like all summer is stressed. The comfortable environment and, stress-free here. How has that helped you as a player?
It's different from school because you are chasing the championship, but it's more laid back and you kind of just get to go out there and play and have fun in front of town of Oneonta and wherever else we're playing. And it's kind of nice and laid back and you kind of just play the game as like you're like 12 years old again.
Mentioning the town of Oneonta, how special has it been to play in front of the Damascus Field crowd?
Oh, it's amazing. I love pulling up every night at a home game, and we have all the fans here, and they're all cheering us on, and we get a pretty good turnout every night, and it's great to hear when you run down the line and do a good job, or like, there you go, and like get them fired up and stuff like that.
Well, and what's it been like going on the road, any sorts of differences in terms of, differences from school ball as opposed to here?
There's a lot more fans than I had at junior college in upstate New York, so sometimes you get a little dicey atmosphere, but it's all good. You got to kind of feed off that and use it to motivate you to try and make them be quiet or stuff like that.
You mentioned junior college in upstate New York. What's your plans moving forward in terms of college and baseball?
I don't really know yet. I'm trying to figure that out as we speak. I'm trying to talk to a few coaches and trying to get a new home for next fall.
Well, and Ethan, another thing I wanted to bring up specifically with you, a lot of the guys on this team have talked about your two-strike approach being one of the best two-strike hitters, not just on this team, but probably in this entire league. You want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I pride myself in not really striking out and trying to fight, and especially if there's runners on, I don't want to strike out, especially not looking. I want to get that man over. I want to do a job. If there's a man on third base, I don't care about punching the ball over to second base just to score him or hitting a fly ball to score him too, whatever I got to do to help the team win. That's how I was taught to play baseball, and it's helped me so far.
And you mentioned the way you taught to play baseball. What kind of things were you taught early on that have kind of carried with you up till now?
I was taught baseball's a game of inches, and no matter what team you're playing against, you got to beat yourself, and you're going to go up against you. It doesn't matter if it's best team in the league or a team that you should beat every time. You have to play your game, and you have to do all the little things right in order to win the game. And it doesn't matter if you go and play like a team that's inferior to you, you should still have to do the little things. And you're playing against yourself in that situation. So then when you do play a big dog, you're able to, when it does come down to that little inch, you're able to come out on top.
And I think that's the perfect segue to ask. Glens Falls Dragons, a team who you and the rest of the boys have certainly seen a couple of times already this year. You know what they have. What are you expecting in going up there to Eastfield today?
You got to go there. You got to think they're the best team. You can't look down on them no matter what their record is. And you got to come out from the first pitch, and you got to come out wanting to win that thing and win every single pitch, take it pitch by pitch and inning by inning, and then hopefully the result comes back in the end.
Ethan, one last question here before I let you go. Now that this team is in the midst of a playoff push here in this last week and a half of the season, I know you're going to be leaving after tomorrow's game. Do you have any last message for the Outlaw fans watching?
Let's go come out and support us and help us win, help us keep moving up on the food chain, and hopefully year after year we keep getting better and better and bring a championship home to Domesky Field one day.
Ethan, thank you so much for your time. Good luck today.
Thank you.
So I got to give a huge thank you to Ethan Glossa for dropping by our pregame show this afternoon. Always a great conversation with who I like to call the Glow Show. You heard all about his experiences so far in an Outlaw jersey. He's one guy who's really considering coming back here to Oneonta next summer. Him and I were having a discussion earlier about how we'd love to run it back here next year. So we'll see what happens next, but we're worried about the end of this season. And Glossa not going to be a part of that, unfortunately, as you heard him say, after tomorrow's game against Boonville, he will be returning home to Illinois. So we'll see what Ethan Glossa's got in store for Outlaw fans these last two games. Gave you all a great message. And now we got another message for you. This time it's going to be from assistant coach Josiah Aska. As here, 7 p.m. first pitch coming up between the Outlaws and Dragons. We are going to roll things down to our coach's interview before we get things rolling up here. Colby Smith, and I'm once again joined by Outlaws assistant coach Josiah Aska. Coach, yesterday up in Mohawk Valley, tough one-run loss for you guys. You want to just talk a little bit about what you saw yesterday?
The start of the game, we started a little slow yesterday. It happens, but we continued to battle. Larry came in and pitched really well. Threw a lot of strikes, was very competitive, and then our bats started to pick up and back up the pitching, So at one point we had really good pitching and really good at bats, and then towards the end of the game, some things didn't go our way, and then it just went out of our favor.
You mentioned slow starts. It seems like this team has had quite a few of those so far this summer. How do you feel like, you and the rest of the squad have to change that here in these last few games?
It's tough, We're getting towards the end of a really long summer, and a lot of guys probably are tired. Bodies are starting to feel rough, and you just gotta take extra care and extra focus on what you do before and after games, and make sure you get your sleep, you're eating, things like that. And it's tough too because a guy goes out there and has 5 or 6 starts in the season, and one of them is a little rough. It's hard, but you got to look at the positives and not focus too hard on the negatives in situations like that.
And for you as a coach, do you make any changes to your approach or any sort of adaptations when you fall behind early in a game like that?
Kind of slow ourselves down. If we're super aggressive and it's not working early in the game, kind of just tell the guys to start to see more pitches, make the pitcher pitch, and just take advantage of their misses.
And besides, of course, that pitching change that sort of lit a fire under the rest of the squad, how do you feel like the bats sort of changed their approach midway through that led to your success in the latter stages yesterday?
Just finally realizing what pitches we get in certain counts and fully taking advantage of those pitches, and then fouling off the ones that we knew we might not necessarily be able to hit hard, and then hitting hard what left over the plate.
One hitter that I wanted to bring up specifically, player of the game yesterday, Ryan King, hits his first homer of the season. How do you feel like King has been swinging the bat lately?
Pretty good. He had a couple balls there earlier in the season, here especially, that probably be home runs at any other park. So it's finally good to see that he got one at the right park. Just him continue to work on small things and make those adjustments pitch to pitch and at bats is a good thing to see.
Well, and what kind of things do you hear players on this team or maybe even on opposing teams say about playing here at Domesky as opposed to any other park with the dimensions that you mentioned?
People look at the corners and see 335 and they think they could get it out till start taking BP, and then everybody realizes, okay, this ball isn't going to go anywhere. And probably first, second inning, you can see the outfielders all just take 5-10 steps in and make hitters hit the ball over their head.
Well, and how do you feel like Domesky Field compares or contrasts to any other park in the league?
I say we got We got a nice ballpark. Some days it's a little hard, and then it's definitely a pitcher-friendly park. You can get away with a hard hit ball or two, but it's a nice place to play.
Well, and going back to pitching, you had mentioned Larry's appearance out of the pen yesterday in Mohawk Valley. How do you feel like he's kind of turned things around after a bit of a slow start to the summer?
Good. Came out, threw well.
And Coach, got to ask, you go Dan Matafee to get the start tonight up in Glens Falls. What have you seen from Matafee throughout the summer, and what kind of specific things have you worked on with him mechanics-wise?
He's kind of just one of the guys that just knows exactly what he needs to do, and he does it for the most part. He commands the lower part of the strike zone very, very well with 3 different pitches, and he just makes hitters miss good pitches, and he makes them swing and miss bad pitches.
Well, and Coach Keaton sort of hit on it yesterday with talking about all the rainouts that have affected this team in terms of pitching-wise. How did you guys go about trying to line up your staff here for these last few games of the week?
Just move everybody back. Well, not even move everybody back. Just keep the days the same, and then make the guys who were supposed to throw on a specific rain delay just throw a light pen, keep the arm loose, and keep their routine in order. But our guys have their days, and they're going to keep their days.
Well, in terms of lineup construction, you're going to be losing another key piece with Ethan Gloss after this weekend. What kind of things are you guys going to be looking to do in terms of keeping that lineup and trying to find some level of consistency over the last 10 games?
Just tell guys to keep hitting, if something's not working, make that change and stick to that change. Just that.
Coach, one last question here before I let you go. This team's played a few games up at Glens Falls already this year. You coached up there last year. You know what the environment's like. Going into Eastfield, what's always on your mind?
Just play hard from the first pitch to the last pitch.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Good luck tonight.
Sure.
So as always, a big thank you to our Outlaw coaches for taking time before we get on the bus for our away games to stop by our pregame show. Coach Aska certainly had a lot to say about that tough one-run loss for the Outlaws, losing on the road in a walk-off yesterday up in Diamond Dog Land by a 6-5 score. Oneonta certainly has had a few of those games so far this summer that they have started slow, came roaring on back to either tie the thing or take a lead, and then fall short just like that. With the last time they were here in Glens Falls, an example of that. But we'll get into that later on. Let's take a quick look at the first couple of Outlaw batters to hit. Chase Armstrong going to be playing first, leading things off for the first time ever in his Outlaw tenure. Matt Carrero plays short behind him. Then it's Ethan Gloss to the DH pitcher to the left. Hopko is going to be in center field, and we'll wipe that off the screen as Armstrong's going to dig into the box, and we will get more into the Outlaws starting lineup coming up. But we're ready to go. Jaden Hughes, Chase Armstrong. First pitch of the ball game, going to be hammered left side of the infield. Murphy camping underneath, looks up in the sun, and he's got it. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the top of the first. As Chase Armstrong, first pitch hacking, can't get one further than just past the grass and onto the dirt. So Matt Carrero hitting that's for the Outlaws here against Jaden Hughes, who's making his 6th start of the season for Glens Falls. Hughes set from the stretch, deals that one in low and tight, but a strike. Carrera, the 2-hole hitter in the order, going to be followed up by Ethan Glossa. Then it'll be Jack Hopko playing center as the 0-1. Going to be a called strike on the lower outside edge, and the count going to drop 0-2. Brody Raleigh is the EH. Then it's Marco Moises who plays right. As Hughes quickly working with the 0-2. Skipped in the dirt and going to be kept in front by Kyle McNeff as the count now going to be 1-2. Dylan Millman in the 7 spot. He's going to be playing left. Nick Del Vecchio, man, second base, hitting 8th. Kyle Pollitt's behind the plate, and then Jack Bateman, the 10-hole hitter at third base. 1-2 pitch from Hughes. Carrera, right side of the infield. Mode an easy play, lunging to his left, fires to first. And Marano hauled that one in as it'll be a 4-3 ground out to retire Carrera. And there's 2 down here in the top of the first. So Hughes making quick work of the first two Outlaws he sees ahead of Ethan Glossa, who we had on our pregame show if you're just dropping in to join us here past the 7 o'clock hour. Glossa, the first guy to stop onto the pregame show for a second time as he lays off one, and it's going to be ball one as it broke in a bit low. Was talking to a couple of the Hudson Valley players as Jaden Hughes does hail from Hudson Valley, just wrapped up his sophomore year up there. And they were talking about how he really paints the outside corners well with his fastball, has a good changeup and a slider. Specifically, I'll give a shout out to Jeremy Taggart and Connor Waiting on the info for that. Brendan Connolly was down there involved in the conversation too, but he got himself a nice little brownie sundae prior to this game tonight, and there was nothing little about the sundae. It was absolutely massive. As when they told him that he was getting a very large sundae when he ordered a large, he wasn't joking, as it was quite the bowl, and it was all filled with nothing but ice cream and brownie. Hughes is back ready on the mound. The count's 1-0. Glossa hammered this one out towards left. Catch drifting in, and he's got it, as that'll be an easy F7. Catch only had to take 2 steps forward into the bottom of the first inning. We're going to go here at Eastfield and Glens Falls. Outlaws down 1-2-3, and Dan Matafee now going to take to the hill. Back to Eastfield here in Glens Falls on Oneonta Outlaws YouTube. Bottom half of the first inning, we'll see the Dragons order for the first time as Jacob Hand, their shortstop, going to lead things off against Dan Matafee, who actually is making his first start since the last time the Outlaws were here back on Saturday, July 6th. So it's been 13 days since Matafee made a start on the hill for Oneonta, and he's going to look to find a groove and settle in here early as Hand, the lefty batter, going to be in the box, and Matafee, first pitch, going to be sent on a tee out towards left, falls in front of Dylan Millman, and Hand, one pitch and one single to start this thing. So Hand going to get on base, courtesy of a leadoff single, and now Cody Myers playing center field, going to strut to the plate. Cody Meyer, no stranger to seeing outlaw pitching, as he's actually the leader in terms of hits in the season series between the two. The only Dragon who's been in the lineup all 4 times these two have faced prior to tonight is that one. A nice breaking pitch low and away for a strike one. Sits for 11 with a double and 3 RBIs against outlaw pitching. Couple of strikeouts, a walk, a stolen base, and 2 runs as well as the 0-1 pitch chopped on off up the first baseline in foul territory, and the count's going to drop to 0-2. Meyer had a couple of hits last night against the Albany Athletics. And Glens Falls' second consecutive win, the first time they've won 2 in a row all season, is the Dragons entering into tonight 7-25-1. And they're in 9th place in the East Division. And the Outlaws now, after that loss in Mohawk Valley, drop under 500 for the first time since after Game 1 when they were 0-1, as they're now 14-15-2, as this one straight up behind home and going to get over the Glens Falls press box area and out to the parking lot. So the count will stay, no balls and 2 strikes. So 3-2 was the final against the Athletics, a non-lead matchup for Glens Falls yesterday. As Matafee's 0-2 offering. High fly ball right side of the infield. Armstrong, Del Vecchio both over. Del Vecchio waves him off, and he's got the ball, as that'll be a P4 for out 1. Good range by the Outlaws second baseman to make that play, and there's 1 down. James Ward will be the next Dragon to bat. The Dragons are opting to bat 9 for the 5th consecutive game tonight after only batting 9 once over the course of their first 28 games of the year. So a bit of an interesting move here as of late. And Ward, first pitch hacking, going to go out towards right center, and that one caught on the run. Great play made by Jack Kopko in the gap, as that will be scored as an F8, and there's 2 quickly away. Well, now that ball getting powered back to the infield and drilled over to first. And so Hopko going to double off Jacob Hand over there for an 8-3 for the 3rd out. So the Dragons leadoff single going to be retired, and we are going to go to the top of the 2nd here on YouTube with your score, 0-0. Back up here at Eastfield in Glens Falls, top of the 2nd for the Outlaws is Jack Kopko, the man who flipped that double play to end the bottom of the 1st inning. Going to start things off against Jaden Hughes, who mowed Oneonta down 1-2-3 in that 1st inning. Big hack and a miss, and Hopko dropped down 0-1. Hughes, his last time out, picked up the only win on his stat line. Is his 0-1, going to come in tight to the knees of Hopko, and the count will be 1-1. 4 innings against Mohawk Valley on the road last Saturday night. 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned with 4 walks and 4 Ks. This is the 1-1 shot on off over the Outlaw pen and dropping out of the ballpark. And so the count going to be 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hopko 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a stolen base against Glens Falls on the year. This is 1-2 out towards the left center gap. That one's going to fall down and roll back. Big turnaround first. He'll hold up there, and Jack Hopko has got Oneonta in business here to start the 2nd. Hopko, a great all-around player for this Outlaw team. Yesterday, he was 3 for 4 against the Diamond Dogs with a run and a couple of stolen bases, so he immediately turns on one and gets himself a hit in his first at-bat tonight ahead of his good buddy Brody Raleigh. Raleigh, the extra hitter tonight for Oneonta. He's seen quite a bit of Glens Falls so far this year, as Hughes going to go fastball down and outside for a called strike 1. Marco Moises will follow up Brody Raleigh here in the 2nd inning. And the Glens Falls defense is set up in double play depth. Is that one going to be a called strike 2 again, pounded on that lower outside. Third to first on the infield, it's Murphy, Hand, Moat, and Moriano. Catch, Meyer, Ward, left to right in the outfield for the Dragons. And it's McNeff who was behind the plate for Hughes. As the 0-2, elevator shot up behind home plate. This one going to drop and stays in the ballpark. And so the count going to stay 0-2. So we'll do things all over again here on the 0-2. And the pitch from Hughes. Out and up towards the left side. This one on backhand, looks up, and he reaches over his shoulder and makes the play. And it will be a piece hit for the first out of this second inning. Marco Moises will now get a chance to bat with one on and one away. Rowley did get a good hold of that ball, but just got under it a bit too soon. So Moises will settle himself into the box. He's 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, a strikeout, and 2 stolen bases against Glens Falls on the season thus far. As he takes his first one down and away for ball 1. Moises always looking for those up and in fastballs. One thing that has really led to his success as of lately. As the 1-0 from Hughes on the run goes Hopko, and that one over the bleachers on the third baseline and out of the park. And so the count going to move to 1-1. Moises, those stats against Glens Falls, he's only played 1 game against the Dragons so far. It was on June 19th down at Demaski Field when the Outlaws took a 14-4 win that night. Oneonta does have a 3-1 lead in the season series against the Dragons. It's a pickoff attempt to first, and Hopko got back in standing up. So the count's still 1-1 here on Moises. Hughes going to go fastball and tight to the knees. And the count going to be 2-1. Moises was making sure he held up Hopko, who looks like he wants to jump at any given second down there from first. 2 balls and 1 strike, and the wind is blowing straight out to center field here in the second inning. 1 hit apiece as Moises out towards left center, racing over. This one's going to fall in. Hopko's going to turn second. He's trying to get to third, not even going to have to slide as he's got it on his feet, and the Outlaws going to have runners at the corners with 1 down. Moises out towards that left center gap as Catch and Meyer looked like they had a little bit of a miscommunication problem on that ball. Didn't know who was going to come over to it as Catch was almost pinched way over towards the foul line in left field. And Meyer almost set up in dead straightaway center. This park here at East Field a little bigger than you'd think when you first walk in, as it is just about 400 to dead center. Is now Dylan Millman going to get the chance to bat for Oneonta. Millman is playing left field. After just finishing his sophomore year at Marist. Takes one in tight to the belt for ball 1. His average is just .219, something that he's looking to crank up and change here these last couple weeks of the season. It has been 6 days since he played a game as the 1-0 took a swing and couldn't connect, and the count going to be 1-1. Millman brought that bat around, chasing the slider. We mentioned it in the first inning, but it is just a 3-pitch mitch for Jaden Hughes out there. Fastball, slider, and changeup. As Hughes, a pickoff attempt, and Moises back in dancing, standing up. Moises opting to wear that pink elbow band here on the road at Glens Falls tonight. Very flashy. Moises certainly one of the more stylistic players on the Outlaws. As the 1-1. Laser beam out towards left. Caught on the run by Catch. Trying to tag up his Hopko. Throw to the plate. Not going to be in time. And the Outlaws going to get on the board first. As that will be a sac fly for Dylan Millman to make our score 1-0. So Jack Kopko going to cruise on in to score. Moises stays put at first, and it'll be a 1-0 lead now for Nick Delvecchio. Delvecchio, 5'11", 180. His is just hitting a $182 on the summer so far in 11 games played. First one down and away for ball one. Delvecchio has not played a full game against Glens Falls so far this summer. Did start the game on July 10th that ultimately got suspended in the fourth inning and won't be resumed, and was 0-1 to start his day. Is the 1-0 down and away yet again for ball two. He had a 5-3 ground out in the second inning of that one. Dragons had the 4-0 lead, and so lucky for the Outlaws' sake, that game getting wiped away. Is the 2-0. Swing and a miss as he went hunting for that fastball, and the count going to drop to 2-1. Delvecchio has had a full week off as his last appearance at Utica last Friday, 1 for 3, and he did score the only Outlaw run in that tight 2-1 loss. 2-1 offering, swing and a miss again. Is actually a home plate umpire going to say he tipped it, but nonetheless it's a strike and the count's 2-2. Moises, the only base runner on for Oneonta. 2-2 count, 2 away. Hughes pitch. Going to skip in front of the plate, and throwing the face mask off was Kyle Mitneff, and he's able to gun throw it back out, keep this count where it's at, and give Jaden Hughes once again a chance to retire Marco Moises on the base paths, or, of course, Nick Delvecchio at the plate. Hughes with his first payoff pitch of the game. Swing and a miss as Delvecchio couldn't connect with the slider. Mitneff with a throw to seal the deal, getting it down to Moriano for the third out. So Delvecchio, a swinging strikeout, and it'll be 9-10-1, for the Outlaws to bat in the third inning. But first, we're going to go to the bottom half of inning number 2 here on Outlaws YouTube. 1-0, Oneonta lead when we come back. Bottom of the second inning and a 1-0 lead now for the Outlaws after an RBI sent fly from Dylan Millman in the top half of the inning to drive in Jack Kopko. First pitch hacking from catch, and he's going to shoot one off foul over the Dragon pen in right field until the count's going to be 0-1. 4, 5, 6 for the Dragons to bat in this half inning. Jacob Hand did have a single in the first frame, but was doubled off on a double play started by Jack Kopko in centers. The count now going to be 1-1. Dan Matafee of Holy Cross. Again, this is 8th start of the season for the Outlaws. This is 1-1. Up the first base line and in the right field foul, as it'll be 1-2. Catch is 2 for 4 with a triple, 5-run score, 2 RBIs, 3 walks, and 2 Ks in 2 games played against the Outlaws so far this year. Matafee winds with his 1-2, off the glove of Pollock and going to roll behind the plate, but nobody's on base, so he'll take his time getting to that one as the count going to draw back even to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Coming up in the 3rd inning, we will have our first of 2 guests joining the broadcast tonight. Is we certainly, with a new microphone in hand, got some surprises coming up here over the last few games of our regular season. Is the 2-2 going to be low and away outside, ball 3. Matafee working himself into his first 3-ball count and his first full count here to begin this 2nd inning. Matafee sets and fires, swing and a miss. His catch went looking for that fastball, and Matafee going to pick up his first K of the game. Matafee said a couple of his goals for tonight were to mix the changeup in more for a strike, put his pitches better in the zone, and also get confidence from the little things like winning a pitch and carry that throughout an at-bat. Is this first one going to be up and away for a called strike 1 to James Murphy? That's the one thing about Dan Matafee. When he's on the hill for the Outlaws, he never gets too high, he never gets too low. And now another pitch, that one a changeup, and he gets a called strike. So said he was going to be hunting for it, and he certainly puts one in there, as it'll be 0-2. Looking for a second consecutive strikeout, but not going to get it this time, as that one over the seats on the first baseline, so it'll stay where it's at. Odelio Cespedes, the DH, will follow James Murphy here in this half inning for the Dragons. Matafee, bat set from the stretch is 0-2. Straight on back into the screen behind the plate. And so that'll be 4 pitches now for Murphy as he's fouled off 3. Outlaws a 3-1 season series lead against the Dragons. These two will have 2 more games remaining after tonight as Matafee another strikeout. That time going backdoor fastball, and he gets a swing and a miss. And there's 2 down here in the 2nd inning in Glens Falls. Odelio Cespedes will now bat for these Glens Falls Dragons. Cespedes has certainly been everything this team could have asked for and more. Now hitting .250 is Matafee going to bounce one in there for ball 1. Cespedes 2 hits last night against the Albany Athletics. Did have a triple as well as 2 RBIs in that non-league game for this Dragons squad. Matafee steps and fires the 1-0, up and outside for ball 2. Matafee, his family not in attendance up here at Glens Falls tonight, but they're watching along here on our live stream as the 2-0 swing and a miss. And he's also got some friends from his old Legion club, the Mount Airy Stars, who are watching in tonight. And they just won their Legion regional game this morning, so wanted to give them a quick shout out as the 2-1 skips off the plate, ball 3. Dan certainly has his loyalties to his old clubs and was pumped for his Mount Airy Stars getting the job done this morning. So hopefully for all your Stars guys watching in, you can continue to keep rolling and get a couple more wins and get things finished off. 3-1, straight on back behind the plate, and the count's going to go on full. Cespedes had certainly choked up and probably going to choke up more now as Matafee just one good pitch away from getting out of the 2nd inning. Bat set with his payoff, down and away, and that will be ball 4. Didn't know if maybe we'd get some drama with a delayed 3rd strike call, but we won't, at least this time, as Cespedes going to get the free pass, and he keeps this inning alive for Trey Marinero. Marinero playing first base tonight for the Glens Falls Dragons. 6'6", 230. He's from Coos, New York. As he checks his swing on the first one, and they say he came around, and so it'll be 0-1. McNeff and Mode are the only 2 Dragons who have yet to come to bat. As Marinero, the 7-hole hitter, and the Dragons only batting 9 tonight against Oneonta. Lays off one that comes in low just above his shoes, and the count going to even back at 1-1. Shadows have crept in all across the right side of the infield. Only sun glaring out there on east field is in left. Is a high fly ball up behind the plate. Going to get out of play. So Kyle Pollock, who had thrown the mask off, not even going to have to chase it. And now Matafee, one more strike away from getting out of this second yet again. The last time he was up here in Glens Falls, that's the one thing that forced his pitch count up. He'd work quickly to 2 outs, and then he would allow a base runner or two that would stretch his innings out as the 1-2 powered on in there, skips off the chest protector of Kyle Pollock into the right of the plate. So all the way into second goes Cespedes, and that will be a wild pitch is how they score it here. And the count back to 2-2. So all even, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. But now Cespedes, the second base bag. Matafee checks a look as 2-2, up and away, and that'll be ball 3. So the third full count of the inning, and the second consecutive 3-2. Marinero with that bright yellow bat in the righty batter's box here for Glens Falls. The payoff offering, gonna lay off as that one in there tight for ball 4. So that'll be back-to-back walks issued by Dan Matafee. And Kyle McNeff going to have to throw off his little knee protectors or shin guards, whatever you want to call them, and come to the plate here for the Dragons in this bottom of the second. Glens Falls looking to tie this game up, something that took them quite a while to do the last time the Outlaws were here 13 days ago on July the 6th. That was a thrilling game. First pitch swinging, McNeff hammered out towards the left center gap, charging over, laying down. And they call out Jack Hopko with a play of the game right there. I think Hopko's even surprised that he came up with that one. But McNeff, first pitch swinging out to the gap in left center field, and Hopko covers a ways to make that play. And so to the top of the third inning we go. Your score going to stay 1-0 Outlaws. Top of the third inning, and Kyle Pollock quickly in the box, hammers one out towards third, play across the diamond, going to be in time. Beauty of a scoop over there by Murphy to power it over to Mariano. And that'll be 5-3 for the first out, and the lights going to start to pop on here at East Field in this top of the third inning. We were supposed to have Darren Dangler up here joining the broadcast in this third inning, so must be Darren forgot to pop on up here, so we'll see if we can get him later on. But Jack Bateman now in the box, and he's going to take a breaking pitch for a called strike 1. Bateman just 1 for 10 with 2 runs and an RBI against the Dragons as the 0-1. Called strike 2 on that lower outside as Jaden Hughes went to a slider. Hughes, a quick worker out there on the hill. Ready again with his 0-2. Bateman over the screen, up over the bleachers on the first base line and out of the ballpark. And so we'll keep it at 0-2. Bateman had 2 hits yesterday up in Mohawk Valley. First time he's had 2 hits in quite some time as he goes the opposite way past the glove of Mariano into right field, and he's got himself a single with 1 away. So Jet Bateman going to come up with a single going opposite field, and we'll go back to the top of the order for Chase Armstrong here in this 3rd inning for the Outlaws. Armstrong popped out to third base his first time up on the first pitch of this ball game against Hughes. Longest start for Jaden Hughes has only been 4 innings so far as he steps with this one up and away, but a called strike 1. Hughes with a little check look over to first. Big lead for Jack Bateman off the bag. It's the 0-1. Going to sail up and away, and the count going to be even at 1 ball, 1 strike. We said it once already, but the Outlaws and Dragons still 2 more meetings after tonight. One going to be Wednesday night in Oneonta, and then next Saturday, the Outlaws going to make one final trip here to Glens Falls. It's 5 meetings of the 8 scheduled in the season series are at Eastfield this year between these two after it was the opposite way a year ago. The 1-1 up over the screen, third baseline this time, gets out of the park, and so they'll drop 1-2 here on Chase Armstrong with 1 away in this 3rd inning and Bateman on first after a 1-out single. Outlaws a 1-0 lead here early on in this one. As the 1-2 drilled down and away for ball 2, with Armstrong showing some patience and resilience to lay off that one. Chase is one of these guys who have to continually praise for all the extra work that he puts in. It's the 2-2, up and away. That one will go for the Birds, and the count's going to go on full. He's one of those guys, if you say the clubhouse opens at 2, he's going to be there at 1:40 just waiting to get in. He's always in the cage putting in the extra swings. He's always asking, what can I do better? Always watching more ball to learn. As the payoff pitch out towards right center, Meyer drifts over in the gap, and he makes the play for the out. And there'll be 2 down here in this 3rd. So Carrera going to get a chance to bat after he grounded out 4-3 his first time up in the 1st inning. He did have a pair of singles yesterday with one of his coaches from Hudson Valley in attendance up there at Mohawk. Right towards second, Mo to step in, flips it underhand to second, and Hand covers the bag as they will make the force out at the second base pad. 4 hits to get off Bateman, and Carrera going to be over there courtesy of the fielder's choice. So the Outlaws, no runs, 1 hit, and leave 1 on base. Into the bottom of the 3rd inning we go here at Eastfield. Your score going to stay 1-0 Oneonta. Bottom of the third inning, back here on Outlaws YouTube, and it's going to be 9-1-2 to bat for the Glens Falls Dragons against Dan Matafee. Christian Moe going to take a called strike one on the lower outside corner of the zone. Moe playing second base tonight for Glens Falls. He's gone 0 for 7 against the Outlaws so far this year, and he puts a bunt right side of the mound. Matafee, gun throw to first in time. Dan Matafee going to get the job done. Bit slow to break off the mound, but he gets to that one and puts an absolute rocket into the glove of Chase Armstrong, and that will be a defensive play of the game candidate for Oneonta's defense. We'll go back to the top of the order as Jacob Hand going to get a chance to bat for the second time. Hand going to take one tight to the knees for ball one. He singled his first time up before being forced out. 8-3 is the bat part of a double play turned by Jack Kopko. 1-0 pitch from Matafee. Called strike on the lower outside, and it'll be 1-1. Jacob Pan, believe it or not, was a teammate of Outlaws head coach Keaton Mart back in 2021. 1-1, down and away for ball two. Was looking for some hand stats on Baseball Reference before the game and happened to notice he was an Outlaw in 2021. Is the 2-1 going to be up and away for ball three. Played 23 games for Joe Hughes' club that year. And Keaton Mark was also a member of that team. Is the 3-1 from Matafee. Right side of the infield, Del Vecchio showing off the range. Powers it to Armstrong for a 4-3 ground out. And there's two down here in this third. So Hand, at the very least, even though he's been forced out on the base paths twice, he's put two balls in play. And Cody Meyer going to step up with two down. Matafee working pretty quickly through Glens Falls so far. Is a swing and a miss, and Meyer will be down 0-1 as he went hacking for that changeup. Meyer did pop out to second base his first time up as the 0-1. Out towards left, and it dropped over the chalk line and into foul territory, so it'll be 0-2. Outlaws will be back home tomorrow night against the Boonville Lumberjacks, 7 o'clock, so make sure you come join us at Damaski Field. It is a free night as the 0-2 towards shallow right. Armstrong drifts back, and he's got it. Chase Armstrong going to come up with a great little P3 to end this third inning. Dan Matafee going to get his first 1-2-3 frame of the night. Into the fourth inning we go here on Outlaws YouTube. Your score going to stay 1-0 Oneonta. Game coming up after tonight. They are going to get an off day tomorrow, just as the Outlaws are, before they're at Utica on Monday for a 6:45 start. Turn around and host Mohawk Valley on Tuesday at 6:45, which is the start of a 4-game homestand. 2-1, opposite batters bots it goes, so 3-1 now going to be the count. DeJourno 0 for 2, fly out to right and a pop out to first so far on the day. Trying to change his night with one swing of the bat, as the Mohawks also have been held hitless for the last 2 innings after they put 3 up on Goebel in the third. Immediately on the run goes Spalletta, reaching up, caught by King, trying to double off Spalletta first. Armstrong slaps his foot on the bag, and that is a heck of a double play for the Oneonta infield. Ryan King with an ice cream-ish scoop at third, flips it to top of the fourth inning, and for the Outlaws, it's going to be 3-4-5 to bat against Jaden Hughes. Ethan Glossa leads things off as Hughes going to go change up, and Glossa pops one right side of the infield. Over it's Moat. He camps underneath it, and he's got it, as that'll be an easy P4. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to now be joined by none other than Outlaw great Colton Harrison. Colton, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you guys? How are you, Colby?
Man, I'm great. And hey, Ethan Glossa, what have you seen from him so far this summer?
You know, he's a great hitter, great guy, great teammate. You know, he's
He's my partner at the All-Star Village, so me and him have gotten way closer over the past couple weeks. Just a great guy to be around, great ball player.
So now we're going to get things to Jack Hopko, who lays off this one, and that'll be ball one. And Colton, I got to ask you, this umpiring experience for you guys, what has that been like, trying to get to know other teammates and just working with them?
Oh, it's awesome. Before we got the opportunity to do that, I don't think everyone was as close of a group as they are now, but now that we get scheduled together to work together, it's just an unbelievable experience that I'm super grateful for.
Hughes bat sent with his 2-0 pitch, down and away, and that'll be ball three. And what do you guys as a squad get out of umpiring up there at the All-Star Village?
Just a bunch of being together, and learning the game. Like, it's not always being at the top levels like college baseball, and really getting to work 12-year-old baseball is really special because you get to see the younger part of the game. And I just want to say something about Jack Hopkins. Dude's a great hitter, one of the best hitters I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, and Jack Hopko certainly showing some patience in that at bat. He takes a 4-pitch walk, and now Brody Raleigh going to get a chance to bat. These two certainly one of the more well-known duos around this Outlaw group. How's it been like getting to know Brody and Jack this summer?
It's great. They're good guys. They're always together, so you can tell they're well-knit and close with each other. And, both of them are playing pretty good this summer, so it really goes to show that they work together and they just play well together.
Well, and for you as a baseball player yourself, how does it mentally help you to have somebody that you're so comfortable being around and work so well with?
I think it's important in this game because, it's all a lot of ups and downs, and sometimes you just need someone to talk to and just be there for you. When you're struggling, and when they're struggling, you're there for them. So, and even when you're doing good, just someone to talk to and work on your swing with, maybe work on some fielding mechanics, stuff like that. It's just good to have someone always by your side.
Well, and with the Dragons going for a mound visit, have to ask, tell me a little bit about your relationship with your now former teammate, Marco Moises.
In the fall, we showed up at University of New Orleans together. We weren't really that close. He was in the other side of the dorms. The only time we really spent time together was at practice, and he's an outfielder. I'm a first baseman, so it wasn't too much time. But then during the spring, we moved into with each other because the other two guys, they left. And, we really grew close. We worked out and hit and did everything together, so that's really where our friendship and camaraderie started.
Raleigh going to send one on back into the screen behind the plate. And you've had a first-hand opportunity to see Jaden Hughes through these first couple innings. What have you seen from him out there on the hill so far?
It looks like he's mixing pretty well. He's getting outs, but, I think we're swinging the bat well, too. A lot of hard-hit balls. For example, this base hit to left field by Brody Raleigh.
So Brody Raleigh comes up with a big hit there. That's his 4th hit of the season against the Glens Falls Dragons. And Colton, believe it or not, that's the first single that Raleigh's had in that stretch against the Dragons.
Yeah, seeing him play, I feel like he's always hitting doubles, triples. He hit a home run in the first game I was here this summer against him. He's just not a big single guy. He's got a lot of juice, and he just finds gaps.
Well, and now it's your boy that we were just talking about, Marco Moises, going to get a chance to bat. 2 on base with 1 out and a 1-0 Oneonta lead here in this top of the 4th inning. Hughes with a quick check look to second. Moises, first pitch swinging, going to skyrocket one on the infield. Hand over there, short reaches up, and he makes the play, as that'll be a little piece sit for the second out. Colton, what'd you see from that swing?
He's just a guy. He sees ball, hits ball. He's got great bat-to-ball ability, and I think, he saw a fastball on that pitch, and he swung, It's just a game where stuff like that happens, so I think he was hoping for something better, but he got his swing off. That's all that matters.
And now it's Dylan Millman with still 2 on, and he's going to send one up the first baseline and foul ground, 0-1.
But back to Marco, I think his story at University of New Orleans is very special, very great. He went into the fall. He played well, and then he went into the spring, or after the fall, he wasn't told what he wanted to in his exit meeting. He came back in the spring, played great, made the roster, and then, he only got 14 at-bats, I think, but he got 3-4 hits, so he had pretty good stats, just really good for him.
So the count's going to move to 1-1 here on Dylan Millman. That ball got away from Neff behind the plate. Hopko was able to advance on over to third, and Raleigh gets into second. So they'll put that as a wild pitch, and so that'll move the runners into scoring position here in this top of the fourth. Jaden Hughes, a 1-1 count on the Outlaws' 7-hole batter. Again, just a 1-0 lead, and it was Millman who put the Outlaws on top. Gonna lay off one, down and away, ball 2. What kind of patience have you seen from Dylan Millman so far this summer?
You know, when he's up to the plate, you know, he sees the ball well. He sees the ball deep, and when he sees a pitch he likes, he really gets his swing off. One of my favorite things about his swing is when he swings, he's holding nothing back.
Hughes, 2-1 pitch, down and away, and a called strike 2 anyways. The count will draw back even. What kind of mechanical things have you learned from a guy like Dylan Millman so far this summer?
Well, if you're watching him right now, you can see he's really in that back leg, and I think in college especially, you got to have that. You got to be able to hit with your backside and stay on it, especially with the amount of off speed. For example, slider right there, I believe, and he was able to stay back and take the pitch instead of going forward.
So the count's gone full, and for you as a batter in a situation like this, 2 on base with 2 outs, what kind of pitch do you expect here?
You know, seeing he just missed his slider, I'm thinking fastball. You got to throw a pitch that, I mean, you got two runners in scoring position. I mean, open base, so you could throw a slider. Throws a fastball.
So he goes fastball, and Millman able to shoot it off into the screen.
But I think this is one of those counts where you don't want a 3-2. A lot of people think you should expand your zone as a hitter and hit anything close, but I was taught by my former coach at UNO, you kind of just got to shrink it. Not really shrink it, but you know the zone. You can't press when you have 3-2.
Is another payoff offering. Millman out towards the right center gap. Meyer a few steps over to his left, reaches up, and he's got this one. That'll be an F8 to end this top half of the 4th inning. The Outlaws going to strand 2 in scoring position. Into the bottom of the 4th inning we go here on Outlaws YouTube. Bottom of the 4th inning as we bring you back here to Eastfield. Flashing that graphic up for you. Just want to remind you that tomorrow is day 1 of our 2024 Outlaws Junior Reporters. So expect a special guest in terms of both our interviews and broadcast tomorrow, as that one going to be bounced off the plate for ball 1 to James Ward. And Colton Harrison does remain here with us on the broadcast. And Colton, we were just talking about it. Dan Matafee, what have you seen from him this summer?
You know, I think he's a great pitcher. I heard he got a good amount of innings at Holy Cross this year, and just like me and Glossa, me and him really grew close at Cooper Sound because we were each other's first Outlaws partners to umpire together. So I think that, like, once again, really helped us grow together.
So the count going to stay 2-1 here on James Ward. Matafee winds, and this one going to go over the screen behind the plate. And the count going to be now 2 balls and 2 strikes. And tell me a little bit about this Glens Falls Dragons team. When you guys come in here to play a team like them, what do you have your mindset at coming in?
They're a team that can really hit. Usually they put the bat on the ball well.
Is that one going to get dropped out in the left field corner by Dylan Millman? Chugging on into second, going to be James Ward. And we'll see whether Glens Falls is generous and scores this one as a hit or if they go error to Millman.
But, yeah, back to Glens Falls, they're a team that can hit pretty well. They always put the bat on the ball well. Pitching-wise, you never really know what you're going to get, but I think they can swing the stick pretty well.
Well, and interestingly enough, they do go with a double on that one. And Colton, in terms of what you saw there, do you think that's the right call?
I didn't really see what happened besides the fact that I don't see if it hit his glove or not, but, he was running into the gap, so it could have been a tough play. I'm not really sure on that one.
Catch in the box here, and he puts one into the screen to the right of home plate, and the count will drop 0-1. How hard is it? You were out there in left field up in Mohawk Valley last night. How hard is it to stay focused in the outfield when you don't have too many coming your way?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely tough compared to playing first. So I've been playing first and left up here, and, at first you got to lock in every play or else, they'll hit one at you and it'll go right by you. See, in the outfield, it's a little different. Once you hear the crack of the bat, you have time to, react unless the ball is absolutely obliterated your way. But, just sitting out there in the outfield, you can get a little lackadaisical sometimes and lose focus for sure.
Count stays 1-1. Is this one going to come off Matafee's shoulder and roll into center field? The turnaround third. Ward's being waved on in. Getting past first and into second as that throw sails to the backstop. But Cats will stop down there at second. This ball game is going to be tied 1-1 here in the fourth. Colton, what a sequence we just saw.
Yeah, like I was saying, they can definitely put the bat on the ball pretty well. So, you never really know what you're going to get.
Well, and in terms of that pitch from Matafee, do you think that he made a mistake with that one, or do you think it was more just good swing for bat on ball there?
It was a 0-0 count or 0-1 count. I think it was a fine pitch. I think he just got the bat there,
So we'll move things down to James Murphy. And again, another runner in scoring position. Still nobody out here in this bottom of the fourth. Is this one going to be a strike one as it's popped right back behind the plate? James Murphy did strike out his first time up. And they do add an error now on the board for Dylan Millman. So probably going to go single and an E7 on that one. Is this one behind the plate yet again, 0-2. And now, Colin, I said it already, but your former teammate, Marco Moises, you just recently committed to Northwestern State after spending your freshman year at U of New Orleans. Why the switch?
I just think the way that college baseball works now, I think there's greener pastures out there for me. I didn't think it was the best spot. University of New Orleans was the best spot for me at the time. I think it's a great program. I think Coach Dean's doing great things. I think he's a great coach. But, I just think the way things work now, I just needed a little change and a little somewhere different to play.
Count 1-2 on James Murphy. Big lead off a second for catch as Murphy going to shoot one up the third baseline in foul territory. And in terms of being in that transfer portal, what was the process actually like?
It was brutal. You lay in bed at night, put your head on the pillow, and you wonder, where you're going to end up if you end up anywhere, because no coach has to pick you up. You're not guaranteed a spot to play. So, it was definitely stressful, one of the most stressful times of my life for sure. But, everything happens for a reason. I'm glad I found a school.
Bouncing ball to third. Bateman not even going to attempt the throw as it took a bad hop. And the Dragons now going to have runners at first and second as that'll be an infield single for James Murphy. Colton, you look at a play like that, Jet Bateman over there at third. How tough is it to make a play like that?
I used to play third base, and that's a tough play. You got to run up on the ball, catch on the perfect hop, and then if you have time, make a perfect throw to get him out with a decent runner. So, I think that's a tough play.
Odelio Cespedes now in the box, 2 on base, nobody away, showing bunt in this one, put on off foul. Kyle Pollock going to race for it behind the dish. As the count will be Should be nothing in one. Matafee and Pollock having a quick conversation behind the plate. But both base runners do get the opportunity to advance. And now, Colton, what do the Outlaws have to do here in a situation like this?
Runner on second and third, no outs. We gotta, it's a tough situation, no outs, 2 runners in scoring position. We just gotta find a way to get an out and hopefully keep the runners where they're at.
Cespedes with that bat set up high, gonna lay off a high speeder down and away for ball 2. And if you're Matafee, you think you got to keep pounding that fastball because it seems like that's where he's getting his strike calls right now.
Yeah, I think this guy right here is a decent hitter. Every time I've played him, he's a big pole guy though, so I'd stay away from middle inside of the plate. And he just threw a fastball out, down and out. So I think that's a good pitch call by Pollock. So I think for this guy especially, you just got to pound fastballs away.
So the count's 2-0 on Cespedes. Again, it's Catch now at third, and James Murphy's on second here in this bottom of the 4th inning for the Glens Falls Dragons. Matafee going to go fastball with this one and gets a called strike on that lower outside. And you mentioned playing Glens Falls already this year. What's it like playing here at East Field? What's it like in this atmosphere?
I never played against them on their home field. The only time I played against them was at Damashki, but I gotta say their first base coach is a real good guy. I think I've played him once or twice at home, and me and him, that's my boy now. We talk the whole game, and he's a good guy, lots of class.
So the count 3-1 now on Cespedes as this one hammered over the head of Armstrong into right field. Chugging over in the corner goes Moises. Catch has scored. Murphy's right behind him. Chugging into second is Cespedes, and the Dragons now going to have a 3-1 lead here in the bottom of the 4th. Well, Colton, you said it in terms of the pitch arsenal. What did Matafee give him, and how did Cespedes turn the dime on that one?
Yeah, like I said, he's a pull hitter, and he probably got something middle inside, and, he pulled it down the line for a double. We've seen it before from him. He can pull the ball really well, and that ball was hit pretty hard, so.
Well, and as an outfielder, and especially somebody like Moises, how do you react to a ball like that that's put so far over when you're pinched more towards the gap?
I think he did the right thing. There's nothing really you can do on a ball down the line because obviously you're not going to really hug the line. But, he hustled down the line and made a beautiful throw right on the dot to our shortstop. So, I think he played it very well.
Trey Marinero now with an 0-1 count. Bouncing ball towards third. Bateman able to pick it out of the air right to Armstrong. That'll be a 5-3. Back across the diamond. And attached slapped on and not in time by Matt Carrera, who wanted that one.
They're saying he's off the bag right here, but I think he kept his hand on. We'll see what happens.
So the umpires are going to converge and have a quick conversation about that one. Do you think Carrera had it?
The tag was on him the whole time. It's just a matter of fact of whether he got off the bag or not. From here, it looked like he stayed on, but I'm far away. Yeah, he was on it.
So they are going to give Cespedes the third base bag, and that will put a run for the Dragons 90 feet away from home in this 3-run ball game with just 1 out, and Kyle McNeff now to bat. If you're the Outlaw defense and your head coach Keaton Mark right now, are you trading a run for an out in a situation like this?
I don't know, really. That's a tough decision given the fact that it's already 3-1. So, but at the same time, we got to get out of the inning. But I would just pitch careful, and I'm not familiar with this hitter, so I'm not really sure what we should do.
McNeff flew out to center his first time up back in the second. Now first pitch hacking again, right up the middle past the diving Carrera. Cespedes comes on in to score and make that 4-1 Glens Falls. So Colton, Kyle McNeff straight up the middle, and Matt Carrera, what an effort on that one.
Yeah, definitely one of the best players on this team. He can hit the ball extremely well. It's really hard for a pitcher to get him out, and then his defense is second to none. He's a great baseball player. He's had Hudson Valley, I think, right now, but I think he's going to end up at a very, very good Division I baseball program one day.
Christian Moe, the 9-hole batter in the Glens Falls lineup, he grounded out 1-3 to start off the third inning. It's been a rough fourth for Dan Matafee, who put him down 1-2-3 way back when in the bottom of the third. Moe with a high fly elevator shot right side of the infield. Armstrong looks up and he's able to yank it out of the air. So that will be a P3 for the second out. Chase Armstrong, tell me a little bit about him. What's the relationship between you two like?
You know, me and him, I think he was one of the first guys that I got pretty close with just because of the fact that he plays first base. But, you know, early in the summer, hitting-wise, you know, I was struggling a little bit, and, you know, this guy helped me out. You know, we talked about certain things like time and getting the foot down and stuff like that. So I think he's a pretty good hitter, and he really helped me out.
Kyle Pollock off the chest protector, knocks this one down. Gun throw to second, and the throw is high, so Carrera not going to be able to slap that one down. And we will give a stolen base to Kyle McNeff on that with Jacob Hand in the box, and now 1-0 count. When you go back to the top of the order here for the Dragons, now with 2 outs, and the pitch count climbing from Matafee, what do you think the leash level is about right now?
What did you say? The what?
What do you think the leash on Matafee is at right now?
I think this might be his last. I mean, we got someone in the bullpen. We'll probably see what happens with this hitter. And looks like an out, hopefully.
Right out to the left center gap. Hopko reaches up, and there it is. That will be an F8 as he waved off Dylan Millman to make that play. So the Dragons will punch in 4 in the bottom half of this fourth inning. Into the top of the fifth will go. The Outlaws going to be looking for answers momentarily. Top of the fifth inning back here in Eastfield. And again, Colby Smith and Colton Harrison here with you on the broadcast. Now a 4-1 lead for the Glens Falls Dragons, and Nick Delvecchio leads things off as it's 8-9-10 for Oneonta. First pitch of the inning, going to be popped up high behind home plate and up above the press box and out of here, so the count going to be 0-1. And Colton, we were just talking about it in between half innings. Head coach Keaton Mark here in Oneonta, what's the experience been like playing for him?
You know, it's good. At first, I didn't really know him, obviously, because I'm new to up here. But, you know, I got I got to know him, and as a player, I think everyone on his team enjoys playing for him. He knows a lot about baseball, and at the same time, he's laid back. He's really the definition of a player's coach. When we're taking defense and stuff, he'll do stuff based on how we feel. Same with BP and such. He'll get our opinions, and our opinions matter to him, and I think that's really important and special in a coach.
Well, the count's now 1-2, and we do have a new pitcher on the hill for the Glens Falls Dragons here in this bottom of the fourth inning. It's Reese Bramer who's taken over the pitching duties. He's from Coas, New York, 6'3", 190, and he is a lefty. Is his 1-2. Del Vecchio, right side of the infield, drifts back a bit into right field. Over there, making the play is Mariano, and that'll be a P3 if you're scoring along at home for the first out of this fifth inning. And you say players coach, and you talk about, opinions mattering and those sorts of things. How comfortable does that make you feel, and how does it change how you approach the game, if any?
I mean, I think it's super important. At first, I wasn't really that close with him, but over time, I got to talking to him. He helped me out with a bunch of things, and I think when you have a coach who values your opinion and actually listens to what you have to say, and he's in it for more than just himself, that really shows. And when you have a coach like that, when you're playing the game, it just makes it so much easier because you have someone who has your back and someone who's going to listen to you if you need to talk to him.
So the count 1-0, and Pollitt takes a big rip and can't connect, and the count's going to be 1-1. And in terms of the summer ball experience as a whole, what's it been like, playing so far away from home and getting used to Oneonta?
I mean, I think it's been pretty cool at first. It was tough. I went to a school that was only 2 hours away from home, so in the fall, when we had weekends off or a day or two off, even just a day, I'd go home, see my family, see my girlfriend, hang out at the house. But, up here it's far, so I don't have the opportunity to go home. So any chance I get to hang out with my friends like Marco or my family came up here, it's nice. But being up here, it helps you learn how to live on your own and really live a life outside of your family.
1-2, and Pollitt did come around. There was quite a bit of communication between our home plate and field umpire as to whether or not he did, but ultimately they put Pollitt down via the swinging K, and we'll go down to Jack Bateman, who's the 10-hole hitter in the lineup. What kind of things have you done around Oneonta on off days, rain out days, to stay busy and keep yourself in the right frame of mind?
When my grandparents were here on the couple off days, we went to Cooperstown together, and we went to the Hall of Fame. We ate at some pretty nice restaurants. We ate at the Depot. I think they had the Depot. We had the Depot night a couple nights ago when it got rained out versus Utica, I believe. And that restaurant was really good. I had some of their wings. That was nice. And I just been working out, hitting. When my parents were here, we went on this little train ride thing. I don't really know what it's called, but it was pretty cool through Cooperstown area, over a lake and through the farmland, stuff like that. But, on the off days, I try to do stuff that takes my mind off baseball because baseball's a really mental game, and, sometimes you just need to step away from the game, and I think that really helped me out once I learned and understood that sometimes it's okay to take a day or two off.
So the count now 2-1 on Jack Bateman. He did single his first time up. Tell me a little bit about Jack Bateman. What's it been like playing with him?
Yeah, he's a good guy, funny guy. Definitely boosts him around the clubhouse. I love being around him. Second hit of the night, dude's a dog. He's a great guy. It's fun to be around.
Bateman with a huge turnaround first, and you said it, Colton, his second hit of the game, both singles. And now we're going to go back to the top of the order for a guy that we spent some time talking about last half inning, Chase Armstrong. I want to go back a minute on what you said about baseball being a mental game. When you say baseball is a mental game, what do you specifically mean by that?
It's one of those games where everything is so personalized, but it's a team sport at the same time. For example, when you're up to the plate, all the eyes are on you, the pitcher, you and the pitcher. And, if you fail, everyone can see it, unlike in football where maybe you miss a tackle and there's 21 other guys on the field that they can look at and see, so they might not, notice it. But, and another thing is baseball is a game where you fail most of the time, 70% more of the time than you succeed. So It's just one of those games where at some point, especially when you get up to higher levels, you have to understand that it's okay to fail and it's just a part of the game. And once you can really understand that, I think that helps you grow as a baseball player.
So they count 1-0 here on Chase Armstrong. Wild pitch advancing Bateman to second, and Armstrong back off diagonal into the screen behind the plate, and it'll draw back to 1-1. And you specifically over time, what kind of lessons have you learned, or what kind of things have helped you truly grow as a baseball player?
I used to be one of those guys who'd, stay in the cage for hours and hours, like literally 2-3 hours, just trying to perfect everything. But, I came to a point where I understood that this game, even if your swing isn't 100% perfect, but you know how to play the game and you know how to get your bat to the ball and you know how to play, I think there's a lot more that matters than your swing specifically. For example, what you swing at, your timing, stuff like that. So once I understood that not everything has to be perfect to be a good baseball player, I think that helped me out. And I think sometimes a lot of baseball players, sometimes work too hard. Too many swings, I think, can be bad for a swing just because you're working out the good things that you've been trained to do. So I think sometimes you just got to stick with your gut and, do what you've been taught. I mean, we've been playing this game our whole lives, so, obviously we know kind of what we're doing.
The count going to be 3-1 on Chase Armstrong. Again, it's Jack Bateman down at second here in the top fifth. 2 away, and Brammer going to attempt the pickoff, and this one going to roll into center field. So Bateman will get to advance 90 feet, and he's going to stop there at third. In terms of a pickoff attempt like that, Bateman didn't have a huge lead. Why does a pitcher attempt to pick off like that?
I'm not really sure. If I'm a pitcher in that situation, 3-1, I'm not worried about the base runner. I'm just worried about throwing a strike, especially when you got 2 outs. I mean, I get it. He was in scoring position, but now he's in better scoring position. So, right there, I would have just tried to throw a strike, get the batter out.
So Brammer with a 3-1 count. Bateman now at third, dancing off the bag. Pitch comes in high and tight for ball 4, and Armstrong is going to draw a walk. So with runners at the corners now, Colton, a guy who you said definitely one of the best players on this team, Matt Carrera. Tell me a little bit about his approach and what you see every time he's in the box.
I just think he's got a great eye. It reminds me of one of the guys I played with in high school, Tanner Hornback from Lafayette, Louisiana, where I'm from. He was my high school shortstop. Same build, same swing, really. Just both shortstops, both hitters that hit for high average, barely strike out, same type of guy. So every time I see him up to the plate in the field, it just reminds me of he's my best friend back home. But I think what makes him so special is just he refuses to give up and he refuses to get out. So that's why he rarely strikes out. Great bat to ball, and he just fights. He fights in the box.
So the count 1-0 here on Matt Carrera. Runners at the corners, and Brammer was looking over towards third. Bateman's over there, and Armstrong's at first. Outlaws hoping they can get a couple more runs on the board and tie this thing up. Brammer comes on set. Armstrong's on the run. Over towards third. This one going to be picked by Murphy. Gun throw to first in time. And that will be a 5-3 to retire Matt Carrera. So the Outlaws going to strand runners at the corners. And we are halfway home in this one. 4-1 Dragons, your score here on Outlaws YouTube. 4 straight. The sigh and the delivery. Skied in the air out towards left field. Harrison's drifting over to the corner, and he's got it in fair territory for the first time in almost 2 years. The Outlaws have defeated the Mohawks as they win this one by a 10-4 score here at Amsterdam.
If you want the very best lawn, visit Lawn Care 5.
Bottom of the fifth inning, back here on Oneonta YouTube, and our score 4-1 in favor of the Dragons. And Colton, we got a new pitcher out there for Oneonta, Logan Marquez. Tell me a little about him.
You know, he's getting back from Tommy John, but this guy throws absolute gasoline. You know, he throws really hard and he mixes well, so I think that's what makes him a really good pitcher.
This is the fifth appearance for Marquez on the summer so far. Is this one put in a foul ground by the leadoff batter for the Dragons, Cody Meyer, in this half inning. James Hand was retired courtesy of an F8 to end the fourth. And now Marquez looking on home. His 0-1 offering skips off the plate, and that'll be ball one. And in terms of having a guy down there who can put in some innings just off Tommy John surgery, how special is that for you guys as a group?
I mean, it's awesome. You know, it's even more special when you see this guy's everyday routine, what he does to take care of his body. You know, he's always doing bands, some type of arm care. You know, he really cares about his craft, and he's always working on himself. So I think that's really cool to see.
So that will be a single for Cody Meyer, poking one into shallow left field. James Ward will now get a chance to bat. What kind of things do you do on an everyday basis to keep your body in shape and in routine?
You know, I just get up, eat a good breakfast. If I'm working, I go to work, and then after that, take a quick nap, and then before we head to the field to do pregame batting practice, I usually go to the gym. And I think that's working out before games, I think, has really helped me this summer because it warms me back up and gets my body going before the game. And then obviously we do BP and stuff, just working on the swing. But this summer I really tried to emphasize not doing too much, not over swinging, because I think I'm a super mental guy, so I think when I take too many swings, it hurts me more than it helps me.
So Ward shooting one off in a foul ground up the third baseline, and the count's now 1-1. If you missed it, Cody Meyer did advance to second on a wild pitch by Logan Marquez. And do you think when you go back to Northwestern State, that whole getting in the gym and working out before a game is something you're going to continue?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I think most colleges, at least what I've heard in my last school, on game days we usually didn't work out, but you know, me and Marco and a couple other guys who were on the team last year, we try to get in there every day, and even on game days just try to do something. You know, it's just good to keep the body moving, that way you don't lose too much progress that you made in the fall.
1-2, gonna clip off the leg and roll in front of the plate, and so Ward will stay alive. Talking about progress, what sort of progress do you feel you've made both at the plate and in the field this summer so far as an Outlaw?
You know, my swing when I first came in, I was kind of just, you know, I was going from hitting BP every day at UNO, only got 6 at-bats, so not a lot of game experience, so I had to really figure out what works in game compared to BP, because there's only so much you can do in BP to prepare for a game, because, you know, you're facing off speed and higher velocity in game. So about halfway through the year, I tried to work on like a little no stride, and that's when my hitting went to the next level, and I think I'm able to see the ball 10 times better now.
Del Vecchio races on in, powers one to Armstrong in time, and that'll be a 4-3 to retire Ward. But it is a productive out as Cody Meyer advances over to third base, and so that will put another Dragons runner just 90 feet away with just one out in this half inning. Next batter up going to be none other than Stephen Catch. And in terms of one thing that we talked about earlier on, playing a combination of first base and left field, what's that been like, kind of shifting around between both?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Ever since I was a junior in high school, up until then I was playing third base, first base, a little bit of outfield. Then my junior year, my head coach in high school put me at first, and I had a great year. Hit really well, played defense really well. Ever since then, my defense at first has been pretty good. And then this past year at UNO, my coaches told me that I'm athletic enough and I move pretty well. So
head slapped on at home by Pollock, and that will be a 4-2 at home to retire Cody Meyer. How about that? It's exactly what you want to see if you're the Outlaw defense. Nick Del Vecchio takes one step in and garners that ball and making it look easy there, right?
Yeah, that was an amazing play right there. Amazing play. But back to what I was saying, you know, they just said the more positions you play, the more opportunity it opens up for you. So I came up here, told Keaton, you know, I haven't played much outfield, but I'm looking to get some work in this year. And he told me he'd give me reps, and he stuck to his promise. And, you know, I think I've gotten the experience that I needed from this upcoming year. That way I can play first, left field, right field, just more opportunity to find a spot on the field.
Well, and talking to that effect, I know a lot of guys play a bunch of different positions growing up. What positions have you not played to this point in your baseball career?
I never really played second base, shortstop, center, or catcher. I played corner outfield, corner infield, so first, third, left, right. I pitched when I was in middle school, then like early in first 2 years of high school, and I caught like once or twice, but never serious.
So that will be a 1-4 caught between the base paths to Steven Catch. Great heads up by Logan Marquez to know that the base runner's going and turn around and get Catch. So that leaves James Murphy at the plate with a 2-0 count here in this bottom of the fifth and wipes the base runner away. To the top of the sixth inning we go. Your score going to stay 4-1 Dragons. Top of the sixth inning, and ladies and gentlemen, we're lucky enough to keep the great Colton Harrison with us for one more inning. Ethan Glossa, Jack Kopko, and Brody Raleigh going to get a chance to bat this half inning. Ethan Glossa has started his day 0 for 2, and Colton, a lot of you guys regard Ethan Glossa as one of the jokesters around the clubhouse. Why is that?
You know, he's just always joking around, having a good time. You never really see this guy mad, even after a bad game, which doesn't happen that often because, you know, he's him. But, you know, he's just always having a good time, and he's just a good guy to be around. He's always cracking jokes and making people smile. He's just making himself smile all the time, too.
Well, and for somebody like him who's leaving this weekend after, of course, our game tomorrow at home against Boonville. So, again, another reminder, 7 o'clock, Outlaws back home tomorrow to play Boonville. What's it going to be like losing a presence like that?
You know, it's definitely going to be a little bit more quiet in the clubhouse, you know, less jokes. And, you know, he's always having a good time on the bus. So, you know, it's definitely going to be different, and we're definitely going to notice that he's gone. So it's going to be a sad day in Oneonta.
So the count now 2-1 here on Ethan Glossa. As Brammer takes a big side, comes back set, sends a bullet up and away, and the count will be 3-1. And in summer baseball, players in and out all throughout the season, What's that like dealing with that?
You know, for this team specifically, we've only added, I think, KC Kyle, but he's gone already because his forearm. But you know, people have been leaving, like Tanner, Lucas, the other Wofford guys. You know, couple Marist guys going back and forth between home and here. You know, it's definitely different than the college season where everyone's together every single day. So you know, some days you miss the people that aren't there, but you know, it's kind of what you expect out of summer ball. People have stuff to do, family events, stuff like that.
Ethan Glossa draws a free pass, and he's now on first, courtesy of the walk. Next to that is Jack Hopko. Brammer with a quick little glance over to first. Home with this one, and it'll be in tight, but a strike anyway. And how do you go about in a situation like this where you have guys who are kind of in and out? How do you keep that team camaraderie up?
You know, I just think we're so well knit as a group that, you know, a guy can leave for a day and come back and the vibe is still the same, because it's not like we only have one or two guys who are, you know, great teammates and great to be around, but, you know, it's just about everyone on the teams like that. So, you know, it's obviously it'll be different when people leave for good, but, you know, we got a whole team of great guys, great players, great teammates, so it's nothing too difficult to deal with.
Count going to be 1-1 here on Hopko. Glossa advancing up to second base, courtesy of the wild pitch. And talking about the positivity, the energy, how do you feel like this team, of all the baseball teams you've been a part of, stacks up in terms of most positive, most fun to be around on a day-to-day?
I think they're definitely up there, top 2, top 3. You know, it's just everyone out here is here to have a good time. You know, some people can have a bad game, including myself. You know, we'll have a bad game, but right after it happens, we forget about it because we got great kids on this team who just make us laugh. And, you know, it's just one of those teams where you're just happy to be at the field every day. You're not really mad that you're there. You know, you're not too – you know, even when you're too tired, you're just happy to be around the guys who, you know, you've gotten to know for the past 2 months.
Count going to be 2-2 on Hopko after a nice breaking pitch. Again, Glossa now in scoring position as he's off second. The Outlaws are down 4-1 here on the top of the sixth. Do have the lead in the season series against Glens Falls 3-1. As Brammer now home with a pitch. That's going to brush Hopko back as the count's going to go on full. As a hitter, when you see a pitch like that that's coming into you, what's the first thing that you think?
For me, you know, I just turn, let it hit me. You know, if a base is a base. You know, I got 8 hit-by pitches this year, I think, and 3 of them happened in the same game. So me personally, when I see a pitch coming in, you know, I just turn, let that thing hit me.
Glossa on the run, and he's going to get into third standing up as Hopko will draw the walk, and he's going to get on base for the third time tonight. So it'll be runners at the corners now for Oneonta with still nobody out. And again, add the stolen base for Glossa. We will get a trip out to the mound. And Glens Falls, don't know if they're going to go to the bullpen once again just yet. But Colton, we talked about Jack Hopko a little bit already. But in terms of his approach at the plate, how do you think it differs from anybody else's?
You know, I just think that he's able to stay behind the ball and hit the ball so deep. That's a skill that not a lot of people have. That's why he's able to, for example, last night when he's got 2 strikes, hit 2 line drives, probably 100 miles an hour off the bat over the shortstop's head for 2 singles. You know, it's just the fact that he can work the ball so deep and still hit it so hard is one of the most impressive things I've seen in college baseball.
Well, in terms of seeing something like that, how do you go about digesting that and, you know, maybe using something of that in terms of what you do?
Well, matter of fact, yesterday in BP before Mohawk Valley game, my biggest emphasis during BP was staying behind the ball and turning behind it instead of getting too far out on my front side. And my first at bat, I felt like I was out front too much. I wasn't getting the bat around. And then my second at bat, I loaded back early and was able to take the first pitch for a ball. Second pitch, fastball. I was already on my backside, stayed behind it, and pulled it for a single to left center. So I think, you know, just seeing how he does it so well and trying to do it myself, I think that helps.
Raleigh takes a big hack and a miss at the high speed, and he'll be down in the count 0-1. Runners at the corners. It's Ethan Gloss at third. Jack Kopp goes at first, with the Outlaws looking to try to climb back into this one, down 3. On the move immediately is Hopko as Raleigh puts it up behind the plate, and it'll get out of the ballpark, so it'll be 0-2. And that one of those prime situations where the green light was on for Raleigh and you saw Hopko running. Tell me a little bit about this hit and run play that you guys have run so much this summer.
I mean, I think if you look at the 3-4 hole right now, I think it's a great play to run. You know, when executed, especially with a runner on third, if he just puts the ball anywhere on the right side of the field on the ground, it's probably a base hit and a runner scores. So I think it's a very important play.
0-2 offering, going to sail up and away for the Birds, 1-2. How do you guys go about in terms of hit and run play, deciding, you know, when the green light's on, when the red light's on?
With Keaton, he just, at the beginning of the year, he told us you guys are going to, you guys are old enough to know if you can run or not. And I think you guys can run, basically until we tell you not to. So on the stealing bases side of thing, I think that's why we have so many, is because he trusts us enough and he knows that we can move well. So I think, when a base runner gets on and he feels like he can take a bag, we just take it. There's no holding back.
And you hit on it there. The Outlaws third in the entire PGCBL in stolen bases to this point in the summer. Count now 2-2, and Hopko just got one. So 2 in scoring position. Raleigh clenches up, puts one straight up the middle. Scooped by Meyer at short. Play to first, going to be in time. But Glossa does cross the plate, and that will advance Hopko to third and make this game now a 4-2 score with 1 away. So Raleigh going to get himself an RBI. What'd you see on that swing to put that ball in play?
I mean, I think that was great. I think he might have caught it off the end. Sounded like a little cracked bat, but, he hit the ball up the middle. Unfortunately, there was a runner on second, so the shortstop was playing a little in to cover the runner, so he wasn't able to get a hit on that. But, it scored the run, and that's all you can ask for out of him right there. Almost got a base hit, but at the end of the day, he helped the team and scored a runner, so it's a great swing.
So the count now 1-0 on Marco Moises. And Bramer rots around and delivers the pitch. We're just above the shoes. That'll be ball 2. And you know Marco better than anybody on this team. What's it like living with him and spending time away with him off the field?
I mean, it's good. We've been together for almost a year now. He's my boy. He's from the Dominican, so I definitely hear a lot of Spanish around the house. And picked up on a couple things, but, he's a good guy to go work out with, get some swings in. He's just really, anytime you want to go do something, if you ask him to go do something with you, go watch a movie, go hit, go work out, go do anything, he's always down to do something with his friends.
3-0 count on Moises, looking to get on base here. And yes, indeed, he's going to throw the bat away. He's got ball 4. When you see Marco hit, what is he usually looking for out there?
He's just looking for a fastball that he can drive. The biggest thing in the spring, when he would go up to the plate, he'd be telling me, he said, first fastball I see, I'm hitting a double. First fastball I see, I'm hitting a double. And I believe his first hit of the year was at HCU, Houston Christian. Me and him were both in the game, and, he did exactly what he said. He first hit of the year, he got a fastball. He drove it down the left field line and got a double. So, he looks for pitches he can drive, and when he gets it, he executes.
Well, and Glens Falls is going to make a pitching change, so we're going to step aside for a quick moment here on the broadcast. When we come back, we'll introduce the new pitcher, and the Outlaws will have runners at the corners with 1 out here in the 6th inning. Welcome back to Eastfield. Colby Smith and Outlaw great Colton Harrison here with you on the broadcast. New pitcher for the Glens Falls Dragons. Where's the funky-looking number 1? It's Anderson Cowles, 5'10", 193, and he just wrapped up his freshman year at LaSalle as Dylan Millman going to start things off against him for the Outlaws. Moises immediately on the run, going to get in a second as that one skipped away from Mitt Neff. So running right in the scoring position now. It's going to be second and third with one away. And Harrison's handed off the mic. I got my buddy Ethan Glossa. Ethan, how we doing?
Just going to hop in here for Millie's at bat. Hopefully he can get a job done, tie this ball game up, and get on the way to beating Glens Falls tonight.
So Millman, 1-0.
Oh, yeah, that'll do something. That'll do something. Here we go. Ball to left field. Hop tags from third base. And he's in there. 4-3 ball game.
Well, Ethan Glosser, we told you he's a bit of a character, and you certainly hear it there. Colton, you got a big smile. How we feeling?
That's great. He's coming up to the bathroom, stops by, talks to the boys, and he called it. He said he's going to do something, and we scored a run, so that's great.
So that will be an F7 to put it in your book. Get the RBI to Dylan Millman as he's got 2 on the night. Moises again is at second base. So we'll flip that second out up there for you. And a big swing and a miss. Nick Del Vecchio going to drop down on the count 0-1. In terms of Dylan Millman, 2 RBIs tonight, 2 sac flies. What would you say about him in terms of being a team player?
That right there just shows you that, when there's a runner in scoring position, he's willing to do whatever he can to get the ball out of the infield and score a run. He's not really too worried about himself. He's just trying to help the team win.
So the count now 0-2 on Nick Del Vecchio. And Del Vecchio, not a guy we've talked too much about. What have you seen from him so far this summer?
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's pretty close with Marco, so we hang out a good bit, He's just a really nice guy. He's a good guy to talk to, good guy to be around, good fielder, good hitter. Just a good guy all around.
Well, Del Vecchio goes fastball chasing for that one, and he can't connect, so he is going to be struck out swinging here to end the 6th. And Ethan Gloss is back out here. Go.
Hey, guys, I just want to hope you guys liked the pregame interview. Drop the comments in the chat, please.
Well, again, Ethan Glosser, quite the character. So that will conclude our top half of the sets. We're going to switch to the bottom half, and it'll be the Dragons in our last half inning with Colton Harrison coming up in just a minute. bottom half of inning number 6, James Murphy, Odilio Cespedes, and Trey Marinero as we bring you back to East Field. And Colton, another new arm out of the pen. Logan Marquez only goes one frame, and now it's Ben Gilbert. Is Gilbert going to come send his first pitch of the inning, going to sail low and away and spray up some dust for ball 1. Talk to me a little bit about Ben Gilbert. He was a later add to this roster and hasn't been on the mound until recently. What have you seen?
Yeah, I think the first time I saw him pitch was the other night against, I think it was Amsterdam.
Yes.
It was Amsterdam, yeah. So up until then, I heard he threw pretty hard and he was a good pitcher. I think he played the field, too, at his junior college. But, I didn't really know much about him until I saw him pitch for the first time. And when he pitched, he did a great job. So I was really impressed.
2-0 offering from Gilbert. Able to lay off. Is the count going to move to 3-0? And in terms of, being on a team with pitchers, what kind of things do you guys as fielders or hitters, whatever, look for in terms of your own pitchers?
I think the biggest thing is just a guy who can throw strikes. On any team I've been on, the best pitcher to have when you're playing the field or even when you're on the bench is just a guy who pounds the zone, keeps the game moving, gets out. I don't think a pitcher's super good unless he can throw a lot of strikes. So, I think that's the most important thing when I'm looking at a pitcher on my team.
Odilio Cespedes immediately showing bunt, and he's going to yank it back as that'll be ball 1. In a one-run game like this, do you think even attempting to show bunt is a good move?
After 4 straight balls, I don't think he was going to bunt it at all. I think he was just looking for a ball. I think he's looking for a ball again, but he might actually put it down. I'm not sure.
Gilbert with a little pickoff attempt to first, and diving back in successfully is James Murphy.
Yeah, I think this is just a big I don't think he's going to put it down. I think they're just trying to run up the pitch count early, but, we'll see.
Cespedes going to crank that bat again as that'll be ball 2. And put yourself in Glens Falls' shoes right now. Now you have Gilbert has come out of the pen. You said it. Now he's up to 6 straight balls. What are the Dragons looking for in a moment like this?
If I'm the Dragons coach, I'm giving them take until they get a strike after 6 balls, and then after that, once he throws a strike and establishes the zone, you just hit away. That's really all you can do. But if I'm the coach, I'm saying take until you get a strike.
Well, and what have you seen on these first few offerings from Gilbert in terms of pitch arsenal and where they are?
He's definitely around the zone. I just think he's right there. And there it is. Yep, strike 1. Definitely throwing pretty hard tonight. Off speed looks good too. Just needs to find the zone, and I think we'll be all good.
Quick check look over the shoulder to first is again the count 2-1. The offering from Gilbert smoked into the screen as it clipped the pole on the third baseline as the count will be 2-2. So James Murphy's at first, and the Dragons' lead is down to 1, 4-3 game with a 2-2 count. Gilbert going to attempt this pickoff again, and Armstrong slaps the tag down. You said that you've played well, and you are a first baseman by trade. How do you feel like Chase Armstrong is in terms of holding guys on base?
I think he does a great job. There's really only so much you can do as a first baseman to hold them on because, the pitcher's in control. But as far as holding them on and getting off the bag when the pitch is delivered, I think he does a great job. And he's a lefty, too, so that helps on tag attempts and stuff like that.
Well, and what's your approach or mindset in terms of, what you're thinking about with a guy on your base over there?
I'm just standing there, seeing what the pitcher's going to do, and then my biggest thing is as soon as I see him lift his leg or deliver to the plate, I'm trying to get as far off the bag as possible, cover as much ground because usually when you got a runner on first, the middle infield's going to be pinched a little bit for a double play ball, so the more ground I can cover towards the second baseman, the better.
So that'll be the first out, as it's going to be a backwards K for Odilio Cespedes. And Trey Marinero, a guy who's been swinging to that very well recently for Glens Falls, going to get a chance to bat. Walked his first time up and then grounded out 5-3 the last time. Is Gilbert first offering going to come in high with this one, ball one?
You know, this guy right here reminded me of my swing. And we got Jeremy Taggart up here. You know, this guy, when I was trying to work on that no stride thing, I was looking at him and Connor Waiting because they both kind of do the same thing. But this guy right here kind of does a little no stride action, and that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
Also, Trey, this batter and the hitter used to be teammates, or the hitter and the pitcher.
Well, yeah, there's a little interesting tidbit from Jeremy Taggart. Ben Gilbert and Trey Marinero used to be teammates. Is the count going to drop 2 balls and 1 strike now? And Colton, I'll ask you, in terms of playing teammates or friends, you know, how does that change your mindset, if any?
You know, when you go up, it's just kind of like, what's he going to throw me? Because, you know, when – oh, what a great play right here.
Jack Bateman pitches up and fires over to Armstrong, who looks fired up after that one.
I mean, this guy's got a cannon. You see that throw right there? I mean, that is a strong arm over at third base. But, I mean, when you play in your friends, it's like, what's this guy going to throw me? Because obviously he wants to get you out a little bit more because, you know, you guys are boys. So, you know, it's just – I think when you're playing your friends, matter of fact, you just got to relax even more because, you know, there's a little bit more intensity because, you know, you guys are friends. Obviously, you want to beat each other.
Kyle Mitneff now to face Ben Gilbert with a runner at second base being James Murphy. Big swing and a miss. Is Colton, how do you feel like Gilbert is really settled in here after that tough start?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely found the zone, and he's just pounding it now. I mean, this guy throws hard enough, and he's got a good enough slider. All he needs to do is throw strikes, and he'll definitely get the outs he needs.
Gilbert bad set here from the first base side, 0-1. Wanted to offer at this one, but didn't go. And they're going to say held up, so it's 1-1. You said the last time Kyle Mitneff was up that you didn't know how to attack him, didn't really know a hitter that well. In terms of in-game action, you as a fielder, if you're not really knowing who you're seeing, what goes through your mind when they come up?
You know, in that type of situation, I just try to stay relaxed and just, you know, you got to be open to anything happening. So, you know, in that certain situation, I'm just trying to play calm and just do whatever the ball, just react to whatever happens with the ball at that point.
And how do you fellas as a unit talk about different hitters and different approach or shifting or whatever in game?
I think when I'm playing outfield, I think Jacoby Dale's a great leader because yesterday I was in left field with him and he was in center, and just about every time a hitter would come up, he just has a great memory. You know, he reads the hitters and he remembered where they hit the ball each time, so he was trying to kind of helping me out, telling me where to go, and you know, most of the time he was right. So I think just when you have a guy in center field like Jacoby or a guy at short like Matt Carrera, who just are such good leaders, it really helps because they communicate with their teammates.
Count 2 balls and 2 strikes as this one on a diagonal back into the screen to the left of the Dragon dugout until the count will stay where it's at. And you mentioned Jacoby Dale. Having a guy out there in center field with you, somebody who's not totally accustomed to playing outfield, what exactly does that do for you, and how much do you personally lean on a guy like that?
I mean, it's just great. You know, the first time I played left field for the Outlaws, he was really there to help me. You know, that's a great pitch right there. Yep, strike 3. Anyways, you know, he's a great leader, and he's always willing to help you out. And, you know, I think every team needs someone like that.
Well, and Colton, with the 6th inning coming to a close, it's been a heck of a pleasure having you up here for the last 3 innings.
I'm chilling, bro.
Well, and I guess now we're going to get lucky enough to keep Colton Harrison up here for the 7th inning. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. Don't get down. Colton Harrison's going to be back when we come back for the Outlaws, top of the 7th. Top of the 7th inning, Colby Smith, and to my right, Colton Harrison back here with you for another inning. And Colton, one thing that it seems like has become a common theme over the course of the last week and a half or so with our pregame player interviews, now we're getting to the time of things where the playoff push is real. How are you guys trying to keep your mindset the same? How are you trying to still be aggressive here, knowing that playoffs are not a too far off possibility?
I mean, I think we only have 8 games left of the regular season, so I think everyone's just trying to lock in.
As Pollitt sends one up into the bleachers on the first baseline, and luckily everyone's all right with that one. We did have a little incident earlier on in the ball game with a foul ball behind home plate, hitting an older man behind home plate. But again, everything's all right with that, and so the count 0-1. And you were saying,
Everyone's just trying to stay locked in. I mean, we only got about a week left, so why not give it our all and put everything on the line and just see where it takes us.
countless bat for a second inning. Pollitt smokes one right towards third, and it's caught on the liner by Murphy. As that'll be an L5 for the first out. And have you ever had the privilege of being part of a team that's so fun like this with playoffs, not so far off possibility?
Maybe in high school, but I think it's still a little different. Like out here, everyone's just more relaxed, but we're also a pretty good team, I think, in my opinion. I mean, right now, I think our record's 14, 15-2, not the greatest, but, that never stopped us from having a good time and just coming out here and playing the game we know how to play. So it's just relaxed baseball. I mean, we're all just out here trying to get better, and I think that's what makes it so special.
Talking about that record, the month of July has been kind of a fluky month for this team. You had that little 3-day break, had quite a few rainouts. Just tell me a little bit about what this month has been like to go through mentally.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough going from in June playing just about every day except one, and then you go into early July, take 3 days off, and we come back. I don't remember, we might have played, and then I think we had another rainout or two, and then this past week we had a game suspended, then the next game canceled. I think the game after that got canceled. So, it's definitely tough having a bunch of games canceled and just having to figure out when your next game's going to be. But, I mean, we can't do anything to stop the weather, so we're just going to stay on our horse and keep riding.
Jack Bateman's going to take a walk for the Outlaws, and he's certainly walking down to first base content with that one. One away, and we're going to go back to the top of the order for Chase Armstrong. At this stage of the game, seeing a Glens Falls Dragons team on the road, what was the mindset? What was the feeling like on the bus coming up here today?
The same as it always is with us. We're just coming out here. We're going to do everything we can to the best of our ability, and whether we win or we lose, we know that we're out here getting better. And I think that's the greatest thing about summer ball is I don't think it's necessarily about how many wins you get, how many losses you have, but if you're doing it and you're giving it everything you got and you take something out of it, whether you hit 100, whether you hit 400, whether you make 10 errors, whether you make 0 errors, if you're just getting something out of it every single day and giving it everything you got, I think it's just a great opportunity. It's a great time.
Well, and what do you feel like the biggest thing that you personally have gotten out of this summer alone?
I just think I'm just super grateful I think I have 47 at-bats right now. I'm super grateful that I've gotten the chance to face college pitching consistently, playing every game or every other game, something like that. And I think that's exactly what I needed, being a freshman in college. And, obviously you're not going to hit 300 every time, every season, but that's just part of it. And I'm just here to get better and work on my skills.
Chase Armstrong going to take a backwards K, as that will be the second out of the inning, And, Colton, I'd be remiss not to ask you, on your birthday, we're up in Boonville. That day, you certainly had a heck of a day. Tell me a little bit about your latest birthday.
That's the greatest thing about baseball is that, everything I did that day was the same as every other day. I just woke up, went to the gym, got on the bus, headed to Boonville, and, my parents were there, so I just tried to play good. And first at-bat hit a double, second at-bat struck out. Next two at-bats hit doubles, the next game hit 2 home runs, and that's just a great thing about baseball. You get you just got to take every at-bat like it's your last and just give it your all.
Matt Carrero with a P3 to end this half inning. To the bottom half of the seventh we'll go, and you see it here in Glens Falls. Everybody's stretching. Seventh inning stretch time at East Field. 4-3 Dragons, your score. On the evening thus far with that sparkly batting helmet here for the Mohawks on the road. On the run goes Spaletta. Tagger, gun throw to second. Slapped down by Birdsworth, and that's called out. Tagger with 2 caught stealings in the game, as that'll be a 2-4. And Gilbert gets some help, courtesy of a great cannon back there by Jeremy Tagger. Bottom half of inning number 7 here on Outlaws YouTube, and we want to remind you, make sure you subscribe today if you haven't already, because all our games, home and road, with the exceptions of our trip to Mohawk Valley, Boonville, and Utica, streamed right here for you. It's 9-1-2 to bat for the Dragons this half inning against Ben Gilbert, and it's Christian Moat to lead things off. First pitch, a big swing and a miss, and Moat going to drop down in the count 0-1. Colton, Ben Gilbert, we talked about it last half inning, but he gets off to a rough start and bounces back. Now coming out here for a second inning, a guy who hasn't thrown too much recently. How does he have to adapt or, settle into a groove even more?
Yeah, I just think he needs to take the same momentum that he had last inning into this next inning. And, obviously that's tough going off the field for 5-10 minutes while your team hits. But, I think once he finds the zone again, hopefully he does it this batter, and then I think we'll be all good like we were last inning.
Well, and for a pitcher, someone who you said pitched a little bit back in your younger days and dealing with pitchers on a team, what's the biggest thing that, goes into their approach sort of thing when they're off the field and might have a long layover?
I think it's just when I was a pitcher, I thought it was tough trying to stay warm. Like, I don't know how these pitchers do it when you got 5, 6, 7-run innings. Even sometimes there's double-digit innings. I just don't know how they stay warm and ready to go. It just hats off to them for that.
Christian Moe is going to get plunked by Ben Gilbert, and so he'll be on base to third things off for the Dragons here in the bottom of the 7th. What'd you see on that pitch to just hit Moe?
I think he just, his release point was a little different, so he threw it a little inside, and, that's part of the game, though. He took it and runner on first. Hopefully we get a double play right here.
Now we'll go back to the top of the order as it's Jacob Hand, who started 1 for 3, had a single way back when, and then had a 4-3 ground out in an F8 over the course of the first, 4th, and 5th innings, and now going to drop behind 0-1. In terms of the Oneonta infield here, if you're Ben Gilbert, are you looking to get a ball in play with how things are set up right now?
Oh, for sure. I think we got one of the best infields in the league, in my opinion, especially the middle infield. And, we got a great third baseman, great first baseman, but I think if we can get a ball hit to the middle infield and let Nick and Matt do their thing, they're 2 amazing infielders. So if I'm the pitcher, I'm just trying to get a ball to the middle infield or even third base, maybe even first base, and try to get a double play.
0-2 count here on Jacob Hand. Gilbert with a little glance over his shoulder to first. Again, 4-3 Dragons lead. Bottom 7 on the run goes Moat, and he's going to get in no problem as Pollitt not even going to attempt the throw. So Moat gets the bag, running himself right in the scoring position with now a 1-2 count. And I want to go back to something you said there. You talked about Nick and Matt on the middle infield. Early on for this team, defense was a little bit of a struggle with errors and whatnot. How has this group really come together and changed that?
I think just, having our coaches before games, we started to take two rounds of pregame infield instead of 1. Sometimes we'll take 2. I think the coach is seeing that and really trying to help us out and giving us the reps we need. I think that played a big part of it.
So we'll do the 1-2 on Jacob Hand. It's a swing and a miss. Going to send him back to the dugout. Jacob Hand going to be retired via the swinging K. And that will put one out on the board for Cody Meyer. Dealing with guys that you don't deal with and then coming all together. I know a lot of guys have said the umpiring has been a big thing for you guys in terms of building up your camaraderie, but what other things have you guys done off the field grow together?
I just think summer ball is such an amazing thing that you're with a group of 40 guys for 2 months and that you've never met before, and then we hang out, we do things like play cards or we go work out together, or some people go fishing together, just things like that, just all the little things. I just think it's super cool how everyone does those little things together, and after a few weeks or even just a month, where it's like we've been together our whole lives.
So the count's going to be 1-1 on Cody Meyer. Ben Gilbert with a little check look over the shoulder to second. On the run goes Mo Pollitt, not going to attempt the throw with a strike call, and so it'll be 1-2, and Moats now got himself 2 stolen bases on the base paths. Talk about a guy like that, on the run like that, gets to second, gets to third. What's the heads-up base running approach?
I mean, he's just looking to score a run for his team, and that's just good base running. He's obviously got the speed, and, the batter took when he took off, so it helped him not have to go back on a foul ball. So, I think he's just trying to score a run for his team.
Gilbert going to go down and outside with an off speed. And now with the count 2-2, what do you think Cody Meyer is going to be looking for in the batter spots?
I think he's gonna have to go fastball here. He's got 2 free pitches to throw really, but I'm gonna go with fastball.
Gilbert's 2-2.
Slider, I believe.
Out towards shallow right field. Moises chugging in, but Del Vecchio makes the play over the shoulder. Tagging up from third. Pollock going to slap the tag on, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will be a 4-2 put out at the plate. So a double play that gets started by Nick Del Vecchio, going to get us out of the 7th inning. And Colton, it's been a pleasure having you up here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It was a great time. Hoping to do it soon again on my next off day.
So we're going to head to the 8th inning. 4-3 Dragons, still going to be your score. Top of the 8th inning, back here on Outlaws YouTube. Anderson Cowlitz going to stay out for a 3rd inning, and it's going to be 3-4-5 to bat for Oneonta, led off by none other than Ethan Glossa, or who we like to call Glow. Out towards shallow right, reaching back, Christian Moe over the shoulder. He's got this one. And that will be a P4 for the first out. And got to give a big shout out and a big round of applause to Colton Harrison taking his off day and coming up here for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 innings. It was a blast having Colton up here. And as he said before he stepped away, hoping we can do that again on another one of his off days before things are all said and done for this Outlaw club that has just a little over a week left in the regular season. And we hit on it when Colton was here, talked about it early on, but this team is back home tomorrow for their 4th to last home game. Only 4 home games remain for these Outlaws here in 2024. Hopko sounded like he broke the bat out towards the right center gap, and this one going to be caught by Meyer on the run. And so 2 pitches, 2 outs, is Anderson Cowlitz certainly making quick work of Oneonta here in this 8th inning ahead of Brody Raleigh. Coming up in the bottom of the 8th inning, we will take our first and only look of the day at the PGCBL out-of-town scoreboard. We flashed our out-of-town games up earlier, and so we'll run through the scores for you and give you an idea how everybody's doing. Most intriguing one tonight, certainly that Watertown matchup at Boonville for the Outlaws' sake. Is that one going to go up and away for a ball 1? Harrison and I spoke about the playoff race that this Outlaw team finds himself in. Now down in the 6th spot with Watertown sweeping their doubleheader against Boonville yesterday, and the Outlaws dropping to Mohawk with a count 1-1 on Raleigh. So the playoffs going to be solely based on win percentage in the PGCBL now after the newest rulings. Is that one a pitch out and away for ball 2, as Raleigh wouldn't offer. Raleigh is 1 for 3 on the day, and he does have an RBI. It was courtesy of a sat fly. Dylan Millman's got the other 2. Is that one going to be just above his shoes for ball 3? Rapids, 2 big wins against Boonville yesterday up at home, and then they traveled to Boonville today. Cowlitz rocking around is the 3-1. Down and outside, but a called strike, and so it'll go full. So we'll get a payoff pitch here to Brody Raleigh. 5 hits on the board for Oneonta, 7 for the Dragons as Cowlitz up and away, going to be ball 4, and Raleigh's going to get himself a hard-earned walk. So Marco Moises is going to bat with 2 outs and now 1 on base. Moises has been on twice tonight, a single and a walk, and he had a pop out to short, sandwiched in between. Big lead off of first for Brody Raleigh. And Raleigh is going to run immediately first pitch. McNeff to throw to second, the 10, slapped on, but it's late. As they had Hand drifting over from short to try to make that play. But Raleigh gets the bag, and so he runs himself into scoring position with now a 0-1 count on Moises. Cowlitz with those all red sods both way up out there on the mound for the Dragons. Pounds a fastball in there. Moises out towards right, just in front of the track. Ward drifts to his right, and he's got it in the glove. And so that will be an F9 to end the inning. The Outlaw defense going to come out in the bottom of the 8th, trying to keep this game right where it's at and get this team back to the plate in the top of the 9th, only down 1 with a chance to try to tie or take the lead. So 4-3 Dragons your score as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th inning, and the Outlaws are going to turn things over to a new arm as it's Liam Belair to take over the pitching duties. And for Glens Falls, they are going to have 3, 4, 5 to bat this half inning after Cody Meyer was doubled off courtesy of an Outlaws inning-ending double play back in the 7th. First one from Blair, going to be down and away for a called strike, and the count will be 0-1. Blair was our pregame interview yesterday before the game up at Mohawk Valley, and he talked about a little lesson he had with assistant coach of the Outlaws, Josiah Aska, before we got on the bus yesterday. 0-1 pitch from Blair, going to sail head high, and that's ball 1. And that was one thing that Aska and Blair were working on, those pitches where it seems like Blair finds a strike zone on 1, he jumps right on back and throws high with 1 or low with 1, and they were talking about his arm angle and making some adjustment to that. So we're trying to see him in game action for the first time tonight here at Glens Falls. And again, your score 4-3 in favor of the Dragons in this bottom of the 8th inning. Blair going to go up and away with 1, and that goes to the mat behind the plate as it counts 2-1. So far tonight, James Ward 1 for 3 as he had a fly out to center back in the first, doubled and came in to score in the 4th. And that big inning for the Dragons, it's the difference maker to this point as they put all 4 of their runs to the plate in the 4th inning. Down and away, that one's going to go, and Blair now falls behind 3-1 in the count. Blair hoping that he could strike on back with some strikes here. Has not thrown since July 13th against Amsterdam, and he did register a strikeout that night as he only went a third of an inning, faced just 1. Comes in tight to the knees, gets a called strike until the count's gone full. Blair going back to Plymouth State as a junior in the fall, stands at 6'6", 227 out there on the hill for Oneonta. His payoff in the dirt, and that's going to be ball 4. So James Ward going to draw the walk to start off the 8th inning against Liam Blair. And now Catch going to be coming on up. Anderson Cowless has been throwing some good baseball on the hill for the Dragons, and we'll see if he comes back out for the 9th inning or if his day is done. Momentarily, we are going to take a look at the PGCBL out-of-town scoreboard, but first we'll give Catch a chance to settle in. He's gone 1 for 3, has a double and an RBI as well as a run scored in this game. Blair, a little look over to first. Pollock, gun throw down to second on the run, and he's got him. That'll be a 2-4 to get James Ward caught stealing, so swipe that base runner away and put an 0-1 count for Catch. Don't run on Outlaws catchers because that will happen. 0-1, and so Blair's leadoff walk now erased. Let's straight on home with this one. Steps and bullets one in there, tight for ball 1. So looking around the horn at the out-of-town scoreboard, game 1 between Elmira and Geneva goes to the Pioneers 6-4. Up in Amsterdam against Albany, game 1 of their doubleheader 9-1. Mohawk Valley tops Utica at home in 10 innings 3-2. And now Blair going to miss down and away with 1 for ball 2. Toronto and Batavia were playing a non-league exhibition game tonight of 7 innings. That started at 6:35. Top of the 3rd in game 2, Geneva 3-2 lead on Elmira. Bottom of the 8th out Niagara Falls, the Americans have a 9-7 lead on the Tarpscons. In the 10th inning in Boonville, the Rapids and Lumberjacks are tied 2-2. Is this one going to skip in the dirt? And that's ball 3. And that's a big game that we were talking about in terms of standings-wise for the Outlaws. Looking up on Watertown now after the Rapids doubleheader sweep yesterday, as they're in the 5th place spot if you're looking at win percentage. Newark and Auburn, final score is that game a remarkable 2 minutes and 2 seconds to play 9. The Double Days take it 5-1. And then last but not least, the last game to get started, bottom of the 5th inning in Amsterdam, game 2, 3-2. Mohawks have the 1-run lead. Down and away, that'll be ball 4, and the bat going to be fired away by Catch, as that will be the second walk of the inning issued by Blair, despite the bases having now just Catch on them. Great 2-4 caught stealing play to get James Ward down at that second base bag. So the line for the Outlaws right now, 3 runs, 5 hits. Glens Falls looking up to 4 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. James Murphy in the box. Is Blair, a little lootsy over his shoulder, home with a pitch, and first pitch hacking. This one going to go to the left, falls in the corner and rolls all the way to the wall. Turn around second, and the Outlaws going to be holding their hands up out there. As it looks like the ball's been lost by Millman in the corner. He's having a conversation with the umpires. I think that ball skipped through the fence or something out there. Our field umpire's running out there. Some madness going on at East Field here in this bottom of the 8th inning. Millman talking to the umpires. Now he's going to go all the way back and look at the fence. If this ball stands as a ground rule double, it would put second and third for the Dragons with just one out. So I guess Millman's going to retake his spot out there as the umpires are content with what they see to put it as just a ground rule double. So that's the first hit surrendered by Liam Blair. Puts Catch over at third, and the Dragons 2 in scoring position with just one out. Mariano, first pitch swinging right up the middle. Delvecchio picked on the backhand. Armstrong, and the base runner is going to stay put, as that'll be a 4-3, and there's now 2 down in the inning. Odelio Cespedes, 1 pitch, and he's retired. As Trey Marinaro now going to get a chance to bat. So 2 on, 2 outs. And the first baseman, who's been swinging a good bat as of recently, talked about it with Colton Harrison his last time up. Marinaro is a bit cold tonight, 0 for 2, does have a walk though, and looking to come up big against Leon Blair, and gets plunked on that bright red 4 on the back of his Dragons jersey. That will load the bases, as Marinaro going to get first. So now Liam Blair going to be faced with a high adversity situation, unless, of course, we are going to see a move to the pen, and it looks like we are. Ball's going to be taken from Blair, and ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Goebel going to come out of the pen for Oneonta here in the bottom of the 8th. Bases are loaded. Blair's responsible for all 3. When we come back, Jordan Goebel, new pitcher for your Outlaws. Back here on Outlaws YouTube, bottom of the 8th inning, 2 outs, and it's Jordan Goebel who takes over the pitching duties. First pitch swinging, that one's popped into foul ground on the left field side. It'll be 0-1 on Kyle Mitneff. Jordan Goebel comes in and gives up a hard hit ball, so hopefully he can settle into a groove here and get this out that the Oneonta defense desperately needs ahead of the 9th inning, where they're going to have to try to play come from behind. Goebel winds and fires. McNeff, left side, going to drop in shallow left. 2 runs going to score here for Glens Falls as Murphy runs in on his horse. Pollitt knocks it down out of the air. All the way in the second goes McNeff. And it's going to be 6-3 in favor of Glens Falls. McNeff going to come up with 2 big RBIs here in this bottom of the 8th inning. And now Jordan Goebel put in a tough spot. He's got to throw some strikes here, as the Outlaws can't afford to have this gap get any bigger than it is right now. 6-3 your score, bottom 8, and Christian Mode at the bottom of the order for the Glens Falls Dragons. He's the 9-hole hitter. That one going to come up high and tight to the hands for ball 1. Jordan Goebel is a guy who's well regarded around this team as one of the best in terms of his approach and his game preparation and whatnot. And now a strike on in there, and it'll draw to 1-1. His numbers this summer don't illustrate the impact that he has had for this Outlaw team. He's got rung up against the Amsterdam Mohawks, which has really inflated his ERA. Is that one going to come up high to the hands, and it'll be ball 2. You look at his last outing, and it was against those aforementioned Mohawks. 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs in that 8-2 loss at home on July the 13th. 2-1 offering from Goebel. Up and away. Looked like he was going for a pitch out, as it'll be 3-1. If he can't find a way to retire Christian Moe, we will go back to the top of the Glens Falls order. Marinaro's at third, McNeff is at second, and the Dragons have put 2 home this half inning. First time they've scored since the bottom of the 4th when they put up 4. Up and away, that one sails, and it will be ball 4. So the bases once again going to be loaded for Glens Falls. Jacob Hand going to come into the box in this bottom of the 8th inning. Oneonta hoped when you got the caught stealing play to retire James Ward was going to start to roll on quite quickly. It certainly stretched out a lot longer than anybody would have wanted. Goebel going to catch the lower outside of the zone with a curve, and so the count going to be 0-1. Goebel, his last 3 appearances have been on the home mound at Damaski. Is his 0-1 up and away, and Pollock even had to come out of his crouch to keep that one in front. Great defensive play by the Outlaw catcher. Hopping up to glove that one. 1-1 is Goebel. Bat set, deals the pitch. High and away, that's ball 2. Goebel's the guy who's returned to this Outlaw team for a 2nd consecutive summer. Really found a place here last year. Decided to re-sign for another season. Hammer it out towards left. That one going to fall in front of Millman again. Coming on in to score Marinero. McNeff behind him, and he dives in head first as it's going to be 8-3 Dragons. They've cracked this thing wide open. Jordan Goebel has not been met kindly here at Eastfield tonight. It's 2 RBIs for Jacob Hand, his 2nd single of the game. Marinero and McNeff are the ones who score. Christian Mote stops at 2nd, and now Meyer, the 9th Dragon, a bat in this half inning, and Keaton Mark going to come out of the Outlaw dugout and look down towards his pen as somebody else is going to have to start to get hot. Goebel in with a fastball, a bit low, and it's going to be ball 1. Meyer has gone just 1 for 4 tonight, as he did have a single back in the 5th inning for Glens Falls. Dragons up to 9 hits on the day, all runners on the move as this one out towards right center gap, and it's made on the run by Mr. Jack Hopko. Hopko meets that one on the run in the gap, but not before 4 more runs score for Glens Falls. This half inning puts this thing wide open as it's going to be an 8-3 game heading to the top of the 9th. The Outlaws have work to do when we come back. Top of the ninth inning as we bring you back to Eastfield. Oneonta's down to their last 3 outs of the night. Dylan Millman going to lead things off against Anderson Cowless, who remains out for what he's trying to do, a 4th inning tonight, which would tie his longest outing of the season for the Dragons. So again, it's Dylan Millman to bat here for Oneonta. Millman 0 for 3, but he does have a couple of RBIs on the night, courtesy of a pair of sat flies. First one going to come in high and tight, and it'll be ball 1. Outlaws have to score 5 to tie this thing up. Not going to be an easy road. 7, 8, 9 up this half inning. Delvecchio and Kyle Pollock will follow Millman. Huge hack and a miss, going low and away for a pitch, and it'll draw to 1-1. Dragons leading things in the hit department 10-5. And again, this is game 6 of the season series as Millman up the third baseline, popped into foul ground, and it'll be 1-2. It's only 3-1 as the one suspended game down at Oneonta becomes a canceled game, totally wiped off. And so it is only going to end up being 7 games played between these two this year, pending, of course, that the last 2 get played. Wednesday the 24th, Glens Falls comes to Oneonta, and the Outlaws going to be back here at Glens Falls next Saturday night, which is the 27th, on their second to last day of the regular season. As we'll conclude things next Sunday in Watertown with a 5 p.m. start. That'll be the last game before any and all playoffs that the Outlaws move on to. 2-2 count on Millman. As Cowless winds and deals one in low, but a called strike 3 is Millman going to go down looking. And now the road to mount a comeback going to look just a little bit harder with Millman taking the backwards K. Nick Delvecchio now with 1 away. Delvecchio has started his day 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts and a pop out to first. Pop out to first was sandwiched in between the 2 Ks. Cowless up and away with 1. Breaks in there for a called strike 1. Kyle Pollock will be behind Nick Delvecchio in this top of the 9th inning. He's waiting on deck as Delvecchio tips this one off the end of his bat, and now the count's 0-2. Outlaws tomorrow back at home to play Boonville, 7 o'clock start, and it is a free night, so make sure you come join us, 7 o'clock first pitch right down at Damaski Field. Going to be a heck of a time, and your time's winding down to see the Outlaws in action at home this summer, so don't waste the opportunity. Great pitch framing from McNeff to try to pull that one up, but he doesn't get the call, and so it'll be 1-2. The Dragons certainly didn't expect to be in this spot with the way this game started out. Up 5 in the 9th inning. Delvecchio straight on back into the screen, and so it'll stay 1-2. Outlaws got on the board first in the top of the 2nd inning, courtesy of a sat fly from Dylan Millman. Then we didn't have any scoring until that bottom of the 4th inning when the Dragons played at 4. Turned around, Outlaws struck on back with 2 in the top of inning number 6. Is that one going to miss low and away? And the count going to be 2-2. Glens Falls then broke this thing wide open. We're saying going to the bottom of that 8th inning, all the Outlaws had to do, get 3 quick outs, get back to the plate, and we'd have a 1-run game here in the 9th. But instead, combination of Liam Blair and Jordan Goebel get charged for 4 runs. Into the 9th inning we go in a 5-run game. 2-2 as Cowless goes fastball, and Delvecchio gets nothing but air on the swing. So there's 2 away, and the Outlaws down to their last out on the road tonight here in Glens Falls. Kyle Pollock 0 for 3 to begin things as he grounded out 5-3 in the 3rd, struck out swinging in the 5th, and then lined out to 3rd in the 7th. Cowless going to look on home with this one. As Pollock flaring the bat around, won't offer as he takes a strike 1. If they do need him, Jack Bateman is the next Outlaw to bat here in this 9th inning. Cowless is 0-1. down and away in the dirt. Going to make it 1-1. Glens Falls after tonight. Going to be at Saugerties tomorrow. Then they'll turn around, come home on Sunday to play Albany before once again seeing Saugerties here on Monday night. Dragons only have 4 more home games remaining after tonight. So time is winding down to see everybody here in 2024. We're talking about the Outlaws only having 4 home games left themselves. 2-1s now are count on Pollock. He shoots one off behind the plate, and it counts 2-2, and the Outlaws are down to their last strike tonight here at East Field. Oneonta in danger of dropping 2 games under 500 for the first time this summer. It's Cowless who's trying to finish off 4 innings out of the pen here for the Dragons. Lots around out there from the stretch. Pulls this one in his glove. And goes down and away with this one. And it'll be full. So Pollock hangs alive to at least see one more. Is his payoff offering. Pollock hit towards third. Going to be scooped by Murphy. Cross diamond Marinero. It's high and it falls down in foul territory. And so Kyle Pollock will keep this game alive. Pollock should get credited with a single on that ball. And Jack Bateman going to come up with 1 on and 2 outs. Bateman's been on base all 3 times he's come up tonight. Has a pair of singles and a walk. Lays off the first one as it's a nice breaking curve for a called strike 1. Bateman is a guy that the Outlaws were hoping could get hot here in the back part of the schedule. He's going to be playing on the regular with the lack of left side infielders. Bouncing ball to third, scooped by Murphy, throw high again to first, but this one's in time, and it's pulled down by Marinero to end the ball game. 5-3 going to be the put out to retire Jack Bateman. Is your final score tonight here in Glens Falls going to be 8-3. We're going to step aside and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up for tonight. So that's going to do it for us here tonight on Outlaw YouTube. Glens Falls going to take this one from Oneonta by an 8-3 score. Final line for the Outlaws, 3 runs, 5 hits, and the Dragons play 8 on 10 hits and finish with 1 error in the field. Oneonta drops 2 games under 500 for the first time this year, 14-16-2, and the Dragons have now won 3 in a row as they move to 8-25-1. Glens Falls on the road tomorrow at Saugerties for a 7:05 start, and the Outlaws going to return home to play Boonville. Free admission tomorrow night at Damaski Field, 7 o'clock first pitch, so make sure you come join us. Once again, your final score, Glens Falls 8-3 in this one, and now the season series just going to favor Oneonta by a game 3-2. And ladies and gentlemen,